Clark, your weekly dose of all things FSU, pistols, and pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
And away we go. Welcome in Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. It is always a great pleasure to be with you. I'm Jeff. There you see Corey waving his hands and his Braves cap. Never known a man to wear a hat so poorly.
Oh,
in
it's
my
an
life.
awful hat.
It's unreal. We'll talk about it. I'm not talking about the hat. I'm talking about your head. I don't know why it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. And there's, of course, our good friend Schoffel, and you guys are you, and you're watching, and we appreciate that. You're also listening, and we appreciate our friends at Register Sausage. Yay, sausage! Tell them, Ira.
So last night, actually, we were at the house. Kim and I were debating whether or not to go to the store, pick up some things. I was out of town for the weekend, a little low on the supplies.
Okay.
And she's like, I've got some of that prepackaged jambalaya. We could throw some registers in there. So we planned on that. She started making it, then realized we were out of registers.
Oh, no.
So I was like, well, I'll run to the store. And Kim's like, no. I've got another pack of a different brand.
Man,
and
are
did
you
you
talking
throw
to
it
her
across
yet?
the room?
Yeah. I let her sleep in the house last night.
Good.
But it was
smart. It was dicey for her.
Even
for a second.
I wasn't going to say anything as I'm eating this fake sausage.
This non-register sausage.
I'm not even going to name the brand.
Betrayal.
I'm not going to name the brand. It's
Betrayal.
a name brand.
Oh, so you still let her do it?
Well, because I was like, all right, we'll give it a shot.
I see. I thought maybe you'd run to the store and get the real deal.
And then probably about halfway through we're eating, and she looks at me. She's like, "That was a mistake, right?" I was like, "Yeah." I tried to tell you.
He said, "Here's my plate."
So
yeah,
that's
right.
Anyway, I won't step out again. Register Sausage is not only is it Ben, a Noles, who runs the company, the big Florida State fans and supporters, but also the best sausage you can find at your grocery stores in the Northeast Florida.
Order online. It comes in frozen, all set for you. You're good to go.
Yep. The website's registermeats.com, and they'll ship it to you, and you don't want to miss out. There's only 4 more weeks of the regular season. Get your registered sausage.
Where has the year gone?
I'm telling you.
Sweet Jesus. All right. So how do we feel today? I usually a little time removed from a game like that certainly, I think, took our emotions for a bit of a ride. Looked like rather improbably late Florida State was actually going to win the game, even though the play on the field suggested they had no business winning the game. But they had a chance, and it almost happened. Typically, when that happens, fans get really pissed, and it stays with you for a while. I don't know that I had that reaction. I did initially, like any other Nole. I wanted to win, and when we didn't, it hurt. But at the same time, there were some positives to take away and some real negatives to take away, too, and some sober reminders of just how dominant Clemson's defensive line is compared to Florida State's offensive line. In fact, upon watching the game yet again, the rewatch really, you can explore that more in depth. And there are some tough moments to watch there where you realize that certain things aren't possible for a lot of reasons. The offensive line, Jordan Travis has limitations as a passer, big time, and the receivers aren't good. That's a deadly combination going against a good defense.
Of the
yes,
of the 3 elements there, I'm not sure that Jordan needed to be the big time, because I think the other 2 are pretty big time also, especially the offensive line. I mean, they're not bad, but they just got exposed, and that's where I was kind of kicking myself a little bit after the game, that I didn't realize how big of an issue that was going to be. I mean, Clemson obviously has not had the season that they expected to have. The defense hasn't even played probably to the level it should, at least not consistently. But when you look at it player for player, and you look at those matchups, and it's like, man,
and they're missing one of the guys,
thinking?
the Breezy guy. They're missing him, and he was like the #1 player in the country coming out of high school.
Well, I mean, all those guys, every guy out there was like
great.
the #1 player of their position coming out of high school.
I mean, I thought, they got a touchdown defensively, but I thought 20 points was about what they were going to score. You needed to hold them to 17, and you didn't. But I thought overall, I also think we'll get into, like, I was encouraged mostly with what we saw on Saturday. But this is probably the last game, right, where you're like encouraged by a loss, like in Mike Norvell's tenure, probably. When you think about the rest of this season, and then going into next season, you can't have, hey, that was an encouraging loss anymore. Now we'll be 2.5 next season.
Well, I don't know that I would label it encouraging.
Yeah, encouraged isn't the word.
Oh,
but
I
there's
was.
a difference.
I thought I was.
No, I agree with you.
I don't know that I was.
I'm okay. I'm
right.
I'm okay with encouraged. I'm probably more encouraged than I am discouraged. But I think there's a middle there too.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that if they lose to Florida, you're going to be like, oh, what the hell,
I have no idea what Florida team is going to show up. They are in shambles. If they choose to show up, they'll do something similar to Florida State that Clemson just did, I think. But I don't know that they're going to choose.
Well, their defense isn't Clemson, though.
No, but their defensive linemen are all better than our offensive linemen, and I would suggest that, man, if they care to play, that's not a good matchup for Florida State. But we're miles from there. You still have to beat NC State, which is a matchup problem, and you still have to beat Miami, who's now decided to play really well. And
they also got Vinny Testaverde at quarterback all of a sudden.
Yeah,
that was cool.
So
that's a nice development for them.
But my point would be, you could lose all those games, and ain't nobody gonna be encouraged then.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I feel like this is the last time we can come in, because I feel as good about this program as I did when we were doing the show last week.
All right, you say this all the time, and you're right about this. They're better this year.
Yeah.
But they are extremely limited with a long ways to go, and you have to recruit your way out of it.
Yeah.
So,
but you feel like they're close? They're almost close to their ceiling roster. Like, what could you do with this roster?
Right. You can't get
Clemson?
Much more out. Well, the problem is
against Clemson, I'm talking about. Like, you were in a close game against all those 5 stars. You could have won the game in the fourth quarter. Maybe you could say you should have won the game once you got the ball back with the lead. Last year they would have lost to that Clemson team
by 24, 31, whatever.
Yeah, well, they would have lost to the 2020 Clemson team by 1,000
Yeah,
points.
but we're talking about this.
But
Clemson
yes,
team.
even last year's team would have lost to that Clemson team. This Clemson
soundly,
team by 30, 35 points.
Last year's team
so you see real growth, but I don't know that we can keep emphasizing growth and losses anymore.
So here's what I would tell you: if you're maximizing a very limited roster, that's what you can do as coaches, and that's encouraging. That is encouraging. You're maximizing what you have. But then to turn around and expect them to beat teams who have better players than them and have more cohesiveness over the last several years is highly unlikely. So if you encounter and incur more losses over the next few games, are you now going to retroactively say, well, they didn't do a good job? Because we think they're maximizing the roster. The roster is extremely limited.
Yeah.
So, listen, Florida State's an underdog against NC State at home for a good reason. They're going to be an underdog against Miami. They're going to be an underdog against Florida.
Yeah.
They'll be favored against BC because BC lost their quarterback and they're devastatingly bad on offense. But other than that, they're going to be underdogs in these next games if they lose those games. Now, how you lose matters.
For sure.
Yeah.
If you get your ass beat 37-7 on Saturday, we got a problem.
Yes.
But I mean, losing the games themselves, that's not going to be surprising.
The problem, we say that, and I agree with you 100%. The problem is the losses as they add up. Because, look, last year and all offseason, everybody said last year was year 0. Or if they wouldn't say it was year 0, they would say, yeah, man, you got to take all of the COVID stuff into place. But as you get further away from that, all you see is the 3-6.
Yeah.
And you count those wins. Okay, now he's 3-11.
Yeah.
And what if he,
but it's a silly exercise. Fans do that, but I just ignore them.
But it becomes tougher and tougher for him to dig out of that. If you can get wins, man, you got to get wins.
That's why that would have been such a monumental win. It really felt like a lost opportunity because you had a chance. Yeah. You would kind of lucked yourself into a crazy touchdown offensively and a crazy touchdown defense. I don't want to say lucked into it, but those were crazy plays. You had a lead and we're getting the ball back with 6 minutes to go against a wounded team, and you couldn't finish it off. But we know why you couldn't finish it off.
Right, you're not going to move the ball against that team.
You have to make a couple special plays. And they weren't going to happen, and you missed the block.
So I think how you lose is going to matter if you lose. Yes, you have some winnable games here. I'm not saying NC State you can't win the game. Certainly, you could win the game. I do think you're an underdog for a good reason. And I do think, depending if Miami's going to continue to play like this, you're going to be an underdog in that game too because they got better players. And then obviously we know we're still debating what the hell's going on at the University of Florida because they shut it down for the week now. Nobody's allowed to talk to anybody. It's going crazy over there. I mean, our boy over there has lost his mind.
I mean, is he trying to get fired?
I think so.
Well, what's funny is like you and Aslan were saying that you don't want to. I think Aslan said you don't want to make fun of their program because they're better than you are. And it's like, wait, I don't know, man. I mean, yes, over the last several years for sure. But if you pick where they are right now, which ways they're trending, I think Mike Norvell's got a better chance of being good in a year or two than
if you're a 16-year-old, 17-year-old kid, I would think you look at Florida State a little more positively than you do Florida right now.
Yeah,
that seems like a sinking ship.
Well, the oddity too is if you're
he's such an odd dude. He's a weird, strange, unlikable person.
He says really dumb things all the time,
does.
and he continues to say them. But I would tell you this: that if you're a Florida fan, and I know several of them, I'm sure we all do.
We probably have a bunch of Florida fan watchers, listeners.
We do. But I would tell you that they should be rightfully incensed because what an opportunity is being blown. Miami's not any good. Florida State isn't any good. You should own the entire state. You should be dominant. You should be running away and recruiting.
Yeah.
And they're not at all.
Like if they had Ron Zook right now, they would have the number 2 class in the country. Probably.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, I mean, no, in that sense, I feel better. I guess it's right now. It's hard to define feelings, emotions centered around this Florida State team. On the one hand, they really have found a way to get blood from a stone with the limitations that they have on this offense, and that is coaching. That's good coaching. I mean, scheming up big plays and opportunities for big plays, even when your quarterback doesn't hit them. I mean, that's really amazing. That's long hours. It's sitting there around the film going, how am I going to get this guy wide open against a look that I know blatantly disrespects my offensive line? They're not going to, I mean, they're in a position to do whatever they want to me, and yet they still do it. On the other hand, the frustrations of losing a Jacksonville State game is very real. It's even more real now than before, because you realize they're in this position where what if they don't get another win or just one more win? It's tough to rationalize 3-win season, no matter how you thought during the 3-week winning streak.
Yeah, I really think the key this week is they're going to lean heavily on the defense. And, Adam Fuller talked about it yesterday. Look, all these circumstances, the penalties, bad situation, field position, different things that worked against them. At the end of the day, they had a lead with 3 or 4 minutes to go, and the defense did not win the game. So they're asking the defense to step up. To me, this week is all about the defense, because I do not expect. I mean, this of the remaining teams on the schedule, I think NC State's probably got the best defense of the 4, and I think because of what just happened and because of how physical that game was, I think they're going to have a hard time scoring points this weekend.
Where's their head? Where's their head? I mean, can you be,
Well,
for
and
lack of a
also
better
physically.
term, professional and bounce back and play a football game now that is imminently winnable, but you are an underdog, so you got to be locked in.
And so, to me, this is a game. If I'm Florida State's, if I'm on that defense, you have to. For them to win this game, the defense got to play really, really well.
They got to play great, and it's going to be hard to play great because they're going against a good quarterback.
Yeah.
The other problem is, and we can talk about
that
this,
little slot guy.
Well, they
torched them last year.
Yeah, they got several good players on that side. I actually,
old Thayer.
I'm very
Thayer or something.
Yeah.
I'm really worried about the game. I actually don't like Florida State to win this game. We'll see if I change my opinion as the week goes on, but I'm nervous about the game. I would say this. They gave up over 250 yards in the first half to Clemson.
Yeah, that was the issue I had with the defense.
Well, so now look, that's happened a lot this year.
Yeah.
I think there are some guys probably coaching for their job. Probably. I don't know that for sure. I'm not in the head of Mike Norvell. I don't know. But I would guess these games are very, very important.
By the way,
very, very important.
What was funny was that Dillingham and Norvell both mentioned the NC State defensive coordinator because they've worked with him before. I don't know where their paths crossed or worked against them. Yeah. Almost as if like, man, this guy knows what he's doing over there. This dude is a great defensive coordinator. And I'm like, all right, well, if you're thinking about making a switch, I think you could get the defensive coordinator from NC State. And I think they're I'm not saying that's what they were doing, but it did catch my ear that they both mentioned the NC State defensive coordinator and what a great job he does, and they have a history with him. So I'm like, hey, and he's apparently really good. Like he's got them playing well this year.
He does. Yeah, man.
Well, but you're right. Adam Fuller is absolutely coaching for his job these last 4 weeks.
And it's always an uncomfortable conversation, especially if you like a guy. I think all three of us like him a lot, but it's also, it's on us to be objective and have the conversation.
My concern, I brought this up on Wake Up Warchant too, is the defense is absolutely better than it was last year. We might get into the top 60. We might be able to throw that up there. They're getting there. They're much better than they were last year. They couldn't be worse. But how much of that is number 11 and number 4? And when they leave, what happens to this defense if you don't have elite defensive ends?
Oh, they're going to be worse on defense next year.
Well, I don't know if they will be. That is a concern.
They're going to go back in the portal. I mean, they're going to go
back
in the
portal.
You're
not going to get a Jermaine Johnson.
Yeah, you could, buddy. Why you say that? They're 1 for 1.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's
hitting 100% on defensive ends.
I do think that gives you some proof of concept. I mean,
Without question, I'm not saying they can't get somebody, but man, what a year he's
It was
had.
a home run.
Granted,
it was a grand slam.
It's very rare you get somebody in the transfer portal that elite.
I think we look at the offense like, okay, they're going to grow because they're all young, and they're going to get better.
They will get better.
And
the offensive line's getting better.
Yeah, and you're going to get some receivers in here that can really play.
Well,
you hope if the recruiting stays the way it's going. But on defense, I just wonder how much of the improvement on defense is just what you've done up front. And what happens with
I'm not buying that because look at who they had up front last year. I mean, when those guys played, they weren't good. That defense wasn't good. I mean, Marvin played like half the year. Durden played like half the year.
No, I'm talking about the edge. Like they didn't have anybody on the edge that did anything. I mean, that's a big deal to have a guy that leads the nation in
the top 4 rounds.
Well, yeah.
I mean, they were productive. I'm with you. I'm just saying you can't just dismiss what they've done this year as a coach.
I'm not dismissing. I'm saying if I'm Norvell or in my job right now, a concern I have is how much of the improvement is those two transfer guys, and how much
Well,
of
but
it
hold on. You
is
can
the
even go
scheme.
further and say they're going to lose Fabian Lovett in all likelihood.
Yeah,
and
they might.
they're going to lose Kier Thomas. They're going to lose. They're losing. They're going to be worse on defense up front.
But the strength of the team this year is a defensive line that probably won't be back next year. At least, certainly not a couple of them. And then you wonder, okay, are they still going to keep making these strides? And I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, but
again,
I know that would be a concern.
But again, it's like, what is that being held against them? I mean, they didn't build this roster. I mean, those guys have only been here for 18 months, so it's not like Adam Fuller's responsibility or blame.
No, I'm saying when you
I understand what you're saying, but I'm just saying you can't say, well, you wouldn't have been good if you didn't have good defense. Well, that's every position. The offense wouldn't have scored a point this year without Jordan Travis.
Right. Yeah. I would say that, no, you're assessing big picture all of this. Right. Yeah. There are elements that come and go. What you're talking about is personnel issues heading into next year because of what's vacating and whether or not can they get guys in and how does that reflect on Adam Fuller if they have another bad year on defense, let's say. You're talking about obvious growth, which is a testament to coaching that we've seen this year, right? I agree. I agree with that as well. But I would also say
you think about the defense we've seen for the last 3 or 4 years, and this isn't like I'm not Adam Fuller, president of the fan club. I'm just saying you look at the problems they've had on defense the last 3 or 4 years; those aren't there anymore. You don't have guys running free.
Yeah, they fixed the bust for the second half of the season,
and that's all Alex Atkins has really done. I mean, for the most part, I mean he's secured it to where it's not a disaster.
Right.
Yeah, it's not an embarrassment.
Yes, but in the first half of the season, the defense was an embarrassment.
Yeah, but
they were awful. They were awful.
Yeah, but they've improved now, and they are better. Again, just moving forward, if you're addressing your coaching staff and you're saying, okay, is this the right guy? You do. That's the calculus you have to do, right? You have to be, okay, he did better. They're top 70 now in defense. We're not doing cartwheels, but they're better.
Yeah.
But
I'm not advocating one way or the other.
Either.
I'm saying that it's on the
of
table. We're talking about the importance of the remaining games.
That's
I
part
think
of the
we've
decision
made that
making.
pretty clear that they're very important. If NC State comes in and drops 30 plus, and so does Miami.
Well, I mean, again, you better hope Miami only drops like 34 because that kid is Bernie Kosar, Jim Kelly, all of them rolling. Where did this come from? Where did he come from?
My point would be if that happens, then I think there is a change in the conference.
Probably.
I think in all likelihood.
Just a weird conversation the Monday after that or the Tuesday after that game.
Well, I think
to be talking about the defensive staff's future.
Don't call us weird.
Just saying it's a strange.
No, but I'm
also
but I would also suggest that was the best offensive performance Clemson's had all year long. So that's a little frustrating.
Yeah, but they played well. They played fine. They weren't bad. They're not an embarrassment.
They didn't play well in the first half.
They were an embarrassment.
There's like
last
year
2 or
3 possessions.
They were not. They weren't great. And if Clemson makes field goals, they'd have given up 30 points. But it's fine. They're fine. They're better than they were.
Well, nobody's arguing that.
Yeah, they're better than they were.
Well, we can have a more nuanced conversation than to say they're better than they were. I think that's fair. That's what we're doing. They are better than they were. They're not good.
Right.
They're just better. So these games become all that much more important.
My eyes are on Dillingham too now. I'm just kidding. They're all on the table. Atkins, what are you doing? You can't block those guys. But yeah.
Seminole Headlines 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Your business a facelift with a modern, consistent, creative brand overhaul from Curiosity Marketing Group. These days, it's not enough for your business just to have a standard website or a Google listing to reach your customers. Your business needs to stand out with eye-popping branding, modern web development, and strong marketing. And it takes a team to pull it all together. Words and websites matter. At Curiosity, we make the most of yours. Find out more at curiositymg.com.
I used to fight almost on a daily basis working on my business website. I'm a pretty smart guy, but I could never get it to function the way I needed it to, and I was losing customers because of it. That's when I called Curiosity Marketing. They listened, they understood, we collaborated, and in the end, they delivered beyond my highest expectations. Now, I can barely keep up with the work. They say the future belongs to the curious, and now I'm excited about the future of my business.
Find out more at curiositymg.com.
If you weren't the owner of Gordo's and all those wonderful restaurants, Eddie, what would you be doing?
I think I'd want to be I don't know what I'd want to be, a boat captain or a cowboy.
You know how to use a lasso?
No.
You'd have to do that if you were a cowboy.
Yeah, but I've never even been on a horse. It's not my place to be on a horse.
I agree. And the horse thanks you. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996. Our partners at ISF know you want to do amazing things. You have big ideas and goals for the future. For over 40 years, ISF has focused on solving the future for state government through strategy, process, and technology. a national management and IT consulting firm, ISF has the expertise to transform strategies, refine processes, and implement solutions to lead you in today's changing environment. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
While other gun stores come and go, Red Hills Arms remains Tallahassee's go-to local gun store for all your firearms needs. And Red Hills Arms, they're right on target. Stop by today and get welcomed in like family.
Hey Tallahassee, this is Sarah with Seminole Auto Glass. There's so much more to auto glass than most people know. With the technology these days, lane departure, keep assist, forward collision, that camera is attached to your windshield. When the windshield gets replaced, it needs to be reset, and that's called recalibration. And Seminole Auto Glass was the first to offer it here. We offer drop-off service or mobile service if available.
Don't forget about customer service.
Oh yeah, we have the best customer service in town, and a $50 gift card with your windshield through insurance. We're more than just a glass company. We are your local auto glass experts. Better call Seminole.
Let's be honest, we all have way too much stuff. Maybe your storage closet is full, your garage is full, or the guest bedroom is a mess. Call Southeast Portable Buildings, 580-6400, or visit them online at southeastportablebuildings.com.
Hi, I'm Jeff, founder of Which Superior Sandwiches, and I'm here to tell you about our signature witch, the Wicked. Why call it the Wicked? Some say it's wicked tasty, some say it's wicked large. One thing's for sure, with oven-roasted turkey, ham, pepperoni, roast beef, and bacon, as well as your choice of 3 cheeses, it definitely takes you from wicked hungry to wicked happy in just a few wicked good bites. Only at Which Superior Sandwiches.
On Wednesday, the Wicked is just $5. 5 meats, 3 cheeses, $5. Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Registered Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schoffel, and Corey Clark.
Here's something we can talk about, and I think all agree on. Whatever they're doing on special teams.
I thought we were going to talk about Toa Feely's play, man.
It's a great play. And then without that play, the yards per play are disastrous.
Well, the whole offense.
Yeah, they did nothing outside of that play.
Yeah.
But again, that I don't understand. I continually you've been banging this gong for a long time, man. Papuch's done a great job with the defensive ends. He's got good players to work with. So Tom was right to bring that up when I was bitching about Papuch's this week or yesterday. But I don't understand, man.
You're throwing your hands up.
Well, I'm tired.
Well, it's really been weird.
It's exhausting.
The return stuff to me, it's just, I don't know. Again, they've tried 4 different returners through 8 games.
So there's a process problem.
Well, but it tells you that they don't have any. They don't have any options. Trayshawn's been working there some in practice, but he just was.
But why would you?
Somebody can catch the ball.
Somebody has to. But
somebody can catch the ball.
How about your man Parker Self? He'd go catch the ball. Yeah. But why in that game do you throw out a kid that hasn't returned a punt? I don't know, in 5 years.
It's desperation, I guess. But I mean,
that's not that.
I really think they thought they could break one.
That he's the guy that can break one, but he's not comfortable enough to catch the ball.
I'll do without breaking one. How about catching the punt?
As soon as you snap the ball to the punter, like as the ball is in the air going to the punter, can you call for a fair catch? When is the
ball has to be? It
has to have left the foot.
It's
you know that
hard.
for sure.
Yes.
Okay. So as soon as the ball leaves the foot, your arm's in the air as he's catching.
But that a lot of times they're not even in position to catch it. What the hell's that?
But
matter?
I feel like maybe if they
change?
Because if he knows he's not going to get hit,
they're not scared. They're just not good at it. I guarantee they're not scared.
I think it's entirely just
fear of a turnover,
fear of getting there and
not catching
and turning it.
I can't believe we don't have a single athlete on this team that feels like they can't catch a punt.
I think they can. The problem is nobody ever punts it the right way. And now I was thinking about that.
Well, how about having Master Mono in practice kick him like that?
Oh, he does.
Kick line drives to him, make him go catch it. Like that's for 6 periods. I would just do that.
There have been opportunities to catch punts.
Yeah. And Papucha said that today that 2 of them definitely shouldn't have hit the ground. He didn't have a problem with the last one.
Wasn't the
getting
first
the
one
last
right off the game? Like the first one at the game?
Yeah, just let it drop.
Just let it drop. The last one I'm going to forgive. It was a line drive off to the side.
Although I'll say this on the last one.
You don't have to let it roll 40 yards.
Well, that's what Papucha said. It's like, and you got to go hit the ball to stop the clock. But go catch the darn thing. And what happened? If you've lost the game anyway.
Yeah, you're not going to.
You have a better chance of breaking a punt return in that spot than you do of going 80 yards in 22 seconds. But even so, I wouldn't have had a problem if he'd have fumbled that one. I get being worried with the lead on a 20 to 17.
They do it every week to every team.
No,
man.
exactly. You don't
bad.
get the benefit of the doubt, and it was a catchable punt. And if you go catch it on the run, you save yourself 20 yards. Even if you just catch it standing still, you save yourself 12 or 14
I can only
yards.
fathom. I imagine if I'm this frustrated watching them not ever catch punts. Can you imagine what the head coach has to feel like, given that it's been his mantra since he got here?
Yeah.
About the importance of special teams, how it reveals your team's character, all this stuff that he has said publicly. Well, hey, man, that has got to drive him batty.
Yeah, because all the other stuff he preached, I feel like we are seeing it all laid. The foundation has been laid.
Hard. They play hard for one another. They put in the work during the week.
They're likable. They're a fun team to watch because they do play hard, even though they're not immensely talented.
Yeah, I'm not
they
taking
care.
a personal shot at them, but if this is just about you, I don't know how you go this long without catching a punt.
They're 94th in the nation in special teams efficiency. 94th, which is 93 spots below where his last Memphis team was.
Right.
That's crazy.
Some of it just seems like it would be easy pickings too. Like, okay, we just got to adjust this. By the way, guys, we do have to catch it.
Yeah.
I mean,
first things first.
Let's just catch the damn thing and not let it go another 20, 30 yards.
He did, but if people, we don't need to spend an hour on special teams, but if you did want to know more about
Who's
it.
Ira to dictate what we need to do or not do?
If you want to know more about it, Corey actually wrote a story about it. John Papuchis, everything he said about, because there were other issues as well. They had extra point block,
kick the ball out of bounds to start the game.
Kick the ball out of bounds.
Of course they did.
Anyway, there's a video you can watch Papuchis talk for almost 9-10 minutes about all of this, and then Corey wrote a story as well. It's on Warchant.
I got to imagine he's frustrated. He knows it's a bad look.
Yeah, not a great look.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, good Lord.
If you're good in special teams, you win that game probably. Because Clemson was awful.
I've always felt like they spend an inordinate amount of time on special teams in practice.
They're not getting a lot of bang for their buck in that regard yet. But that's what they do. That's what he wants. And it would, I mean, when you're not a good team, being really good at special teams can steal you a win or two each year. But it also can lose you games when you're 94th in the country.
Well, now you turn your attention this week to NC State. And again, there were positive things that came out of the Clemson game. They were highly competitive against a team that has better players at almost every position. So I will grant them that, and I was encouraged in that sense. I do think that now you're in a dangerous place because I got to imagine the kids, and they've been resilient, but I got to imagine the kids are pretty heartbroken. To have a lead on the road against that team with under 5 to play, probably, sets you up for some real heartbreak to lose in that manner. And now you got to wash it away. You got to move on. Because this is a winnable game. And if you were to win it, you have an outside shot all of a sudden of being a bowl team.
But imagine what kind of sign that would be. Because NC State's a good team. They're a
very good team. They're better than Florida State.
If you came back you had a 3-game winning streak, you lost on the road to your rival when you had to lead in the fourth quarter, a rival that has just embarrassed you each year of the last 3 or 4 years. And then to come back after a heartbreaking loss and beat a good team at home. I don't care if it's 21-20.
It would be a big damn deal. Yeah.
It'd be a really impressive for what this coaching staff is building and what these players are buying into.
And we do think they have bought it in that way that it's possible.
Yeah.
So to win that game would be massive. I feel like this is a huge game because if you win this game, then it's on the table that you win another couple of games.
That's the only thing that's unfortunate to me about the way the games lay out is I do feel like they're going to come back. I do feel like just gauging the way they were after the game and everything. I mean, I do feel like it didn't feel like the end of the season. Now we're just going to ride this out. Right. It felt like they're going in the right direction. So I think they are going to play well. Kind of wish they were playing Miami and, Joe Namath, the quarterback, whoever Corey's anointed him to be. But I do think, but I just worry about playing a team with that good of a defense.
I think he's a combination. You remember Steve Walsh back in the day, the early 90s Miami. He's a combination of him and Marino.
Montana?
No, Marino.
Okay.
Yeah, big arm. Right. But the kid, I mean, his numbers are outrageous. This is crazy. He wasn't even going to play at all. And now he's my number 2 pick for the Heisman right now. Just saying. Guy's out of control.
Could he win it, Corey?
If they win out, he's going to get it. Yeah.
Well, and the other issue, NC State, and I just, and I haven't watched them play this year, but when you look at their quarterback stats. It just reminds me a lot of when they had that Finley kid.
Yeah.
He's got 21 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
He's a good player.
But he's not throwing the ball down the field. They're just going to take these long time
They're
consuming
going to go to
drives.
Thayer.
They're there a lot. So that to me,
Be good in the red zone.
yeah, I mean,
Hold
they're
the
going
field
to have 100%.
Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
On Sunday, the Wakulla County School District and the Wakulla County Sheriff's Department were made aware of a threat against the school district. The suspect was quickly identified as a student, and law enforcement officers made contact with the student and their parents. The WCSD determined that the post was not a credible threat and classes would be able to resume as scheduled. According to a post on the Wakulla School Board Student Safety Information Facebook page, there will be a strengthened law enforcement presence at the school as a precaution. The incident is still under investigation by law enforcement and the Wakulla County School Board Administration. The Community Redevelopment Agency, made up of Tallahassee City Commissioners, has voted to allocate $250,000 for the design of sidewalk improvements on Monroe Street downtown. The improvements will be on both sides of Monroe Street from at least Park Avenue to Jefferson Street. If funding allows, the board also voted to extend the changes 1 block further north to Call Street. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Bright sunshine expected this afternoon with highs around 76. Winds out of the north, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear skies tonight, lows around 54. Clear skies and quiet tomorrow, high of 75. Low 70s Thursday with a chance for scattered showers. Much cooler Friday with highs in the low 60s. Showers continue. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 74.
Did you know metal roofs' survivability far exceeds that of traditional shingle roofs? It's time to consider a metal roof from Metal Roofing Sales of Tallahassee. We provide the best quality, least expensive material and accessories in the area, as well as material pickup and delivery. Our painted panels qualify for the City of Tallahassee's low-interest Energy Star loan program also. And don't forget about our veteran law enforcement discount. Give Metal Roofing Sales a call today at 536-9123, 536-9123.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
Charlie Crist, he's running for governor. To mention the governor, I'm tired of it. I'm sick of it. And we see it in presidential. We see it all the time. It's the new norm. We even saw it in local. That it should be. It's like, hey, I'm running for this local
But
seat.
do you understand? I heard a statistic that like half of our population reads at like an 8th grade level.
And what is the other 2/3
Half
grade?
doesn't. That means almost half does not. You're right.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3.
Seminole Headlines is brought to you by Register Sausage, serving the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. To find a store near you or to buy directly from Registers, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com.
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schoffel, and Corey Clark.
As to the world of recruiting that Florida's coach doesn't want to talk about until it's recruiting season, guys. He's not even going to worry about this. As to recruiting, I think that's where a lot of our eyes turn. We can talk about the on-field stuff and we can debate with nuance, this coach, that coach, and where they're at. But also, the reality is they have to have better players at a lot of positions.
Yeah.
We talk about the transfer portal, but we also talk about building with a stable, solid recruiting class. And they have one on the hook here. I don't know this. You guys talk to Michael Langston more frequently than I do. Certainly I should go. And tonight, further educate myself on warchant.com about where we stand with a lot of these guys. Still feeling good? Still feeling good on the whole about that class? I know we're going to lose a couple guys. That's normal, but
there's 1 or 2 more guys that that are taking visits and kind of actively talking to other schools. But I think they do. And I think it's big that they have played better these last few weeks, even though they don't have the wins to show for it last week. I think they're in pretty good shape. And I'm curious to see what they do from a number standpoint, though, because there is that new legislation.
Yeah, you can have an
where
extra 7 or whatever it is. Yeah.
So you can bring in 32 guys, right?
No, it doesn't really work that way exactly.
Oh.
But there's two different 25 limits. There's the 25 in a class, then there's another one like 25 players can start within a calendar year, and that's the one that sometimes they get bit by. Like this past class, they had more scholarships to give, but they couldn't bring in more than 25 in that year. Well, now you're going to have some more leeway in that area.
Oh, all right.
So they're so I'm just curious to see how many more high school guys are going after. I'm obviously love to get Marvin Jones Jr. You'd love to get or Julian Armella. There's some players they'd love to get, but then there's how much room are you going to save on the transfer portal?
A chunk.
Yeah, you would think
a sizable chunk, I would think.
And that's the thing, man. Like you look at that game, and no, I mean, did the coaches call a perfect game? No. Did the players play a perfect game? No. And but there are such huge limitations that really decrease your margin for error.
Don't you think too in recruiting there's a level of nuance when you're recruiting a player and his parents, and I don't think it's just you guys were 3-6 last year, you're 4-8 this year. I feel like Norvell and his staff better have a great package to show these people about. Look how much better we are than we were 3 years ago, 2 years ago. Like literally, I brought it up on Wake Up Warchant. By the way, guys, listen to that show. The last time in 2018, Clemson was up 59-3 and throwing fades to Dabo's kid after 2 kids got ejected for punching. And then last year he was clowning your team and saying you were scared to play. 2 years ago they were up 42-0 with 9 minutes to go in the third quarter. Like just show them you lost to Clemson again. We get it, but look at the gap. Look how much better they've got now this week. Yeah, you might lose to NC State. But if it's 27-23, last year you were down 28-3. Like I think wouldn't that matter to a recruit more than just straight up
there are
wins and losses?
There's certainly empirical data to show you're better. We know that.
So that's the selling job you can do even with a 4-8 team. That's the sell job.
I don't know that kids look at all of those things though, and I'm not sure that a kid is going to be overly impressed when you show them that data and then they go, "Yeah, but you won 3 games this year."
Well, a lot of it depends on each kid and who else they're being recruited by.
Thing, right.
Like the Aluba, the offensive lineman who was committed since the summer, he was committed to Florida State till Georgia decided, hey, we really want you.
Oh, if Georgia or Alabama decides they want one of your kids, you're pretty well screwed.
Now, the difference here is, there are a couple kids that everybody does want that have been holding firm.
Yeah, Travis Hunter being the name.
Yeah, and Sam McCall. And you're going to have to fight off those big boys for, some of these other guys they want, Marvin Jr. and some of these other guys.
But I guess, so like in Travis Hunter's camp, I don't all big-time guys have camps, right? Like you have a camp.
Oh, yeah.
When your worry was that you were being sold a bill of goods. You're not really improving. You were 3-6 last year. Then you started off 0-4. Okay, maybe we don't believe in this coach. I think now after 8 games, there's enough, like you said, empirical data. Forget the record. This program is getting better. It's in a better place.
Yes, it is.
So Travis Hunter won't feel foolish for believing that Mike Norvell is turning this into a winning program.
Also,
again,
you have
even if they go 4-8 or 5-7 or even 3-9.
Well, and if Travis Hunter was willing to commit to Florida State and have this be the in shambles program that it has been over the last 3 years, then I think he was pretty unshakable. I mean, it would take an awful lot. Now, maybe Georgia offers an awful lot. Certainly they have to win the recruiting battle against everybody else and put together arguably the greatest defense we've ever seen. They have been willing to offer all that's necessary to make sure Georgia brings in the best players on defense. I don't know, but if you were going to lose that battle because of that, because you weren't willing to meet that standard, we'll say, then you probably would have already lost him.
Yeah, wouldn't you think?
When you would have already lost him.
Yeah,
I feel like you don't go out and do something stupid and get beat 45-0.
Sure,
which could shake the foundations of that trust. Yes, but on the whole, I feel like that kid's committed. I do.
Yeah, no, 100%. And again, man, I think when you look at the offensive line and when we look at the future, because there's 4 games left. So especially after a game like that against Clemson, where you feel like, okay, it was so close, you could have won it, but what's going to look like next year? Does that mean you're getting closer, or was this the one chance you were going to have?
I feel like you're getting closer.
I do feel like you're getting closer, and I think especially when you look at on the offensive line, they're all going to be back, and that group should be better.
They will be better.
And you're not asking redshirt freshmen to play. Those guys would have been 3 years into the program, 2 years with the weight and strength program, non-COVID years. And now they've got experience with them. So that should be a solid group. You wouldn't expect they're going to get overwhelmed by probably anybody they play.
Yeah, my fear, I agree with you. My fear is I think they are going to be better on offense. I think that is without question true. I think they need to add on. Right now, they've found a way to kind of piecemeal it together, and that's good. But against good teams, they're going to stop Jordan Travis from running, and then you've got a problem. But they'll be better. That line will get better. Hopefully, you add some some wide receivers to this group, and you're more diversified there. I would find, if I could, somebody to challenge Jordan Travis for the job. Not saying he couldn't win it.
How dare you? What about the kid at LSU that just went in the portal? Not the guy you want.
I want Max Johnson. But anyhow, I'm still holding out hopes. I'm still recruiting Max Johnson.
But didn't that hurt our Florida State's chances that the other kid
It kind of hurt my heart a little bit. Yeah.
Going back to the thing Corey was bringing up earlier about losing those guys on the defensive front, all I would say, though, is a year ago, at the end of last season, I remember saying, I said a few times, how is the defense going to be better next year when you don't have Marvin Wilson, when you don't have Janaris Robinson, when you don't, but then they went out and did it in the portal.
Yeah, they found
they just have to do it again.
It's also a good selling point, 2 guys in the portal. Like, look, Jermaine Johnson was on the he left Georgia and made money.
Let's hope he's healthy, fully recovered. You get Dennis Briggs back, and he was in the middle of having a good season and really showed progress
and
there.
I like what you're seeing out of
Malcolm Ray has been better. He's been better. Yeah, without question. I think there's some room there. Maybe even Quayshawn Fuller. They're getting better there. Now, that said, again, losing what you're going to lose on the edges and losing in the middle. I mean, Fabian Lovett's a really good player if he goes. So it's going to be tough. Hopefully they hit home runs. It's not impossible.
Right.
They also brought in some guys that were not home runs. It is it's rare that you do as well as you did with, in particular, Jermaine Johnson, who is a beast.
And Keir Thomas, man. I mean, he's not Jermaine Johnson, but he is a good college football player, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's a real good college
I like
player.
I like
that
him
front
a lot.
four is the best part about the Florida State football team. It is without question. They're consistently good.
Cooper sometimes
plays
is unblockable. Like he just moves dudes out of the way. And Lovett's been good. Yeah, they've been good up front.
The other thing I'd say is if you could find, and it may be possible given what LSU's losing and the problems you have at Florida, and we'll see you were having at Miami. Gotta get some linebackers in here, guys.
Yeah,
they really.
There's a lot around the country.
Gotta get some guys.
Go find the 4th guy in Georgia's rotation at linebacker.
Well,
like, man, you can play.
All the teams have rated
snaps
Georgia's 4th string. It's hilarious. We did it. Everybody's done it. Florida's got a guy from Georgia.
I think Miami does too.
Miami does.
Their leading
LSU,
tackler.
Yeah, everybody's gotten a guy from Georgia, and they're instantly that team's best player. It's insane what Kirby's done.
And he was barely. Jermaine Johnson was in the top 18 on their defense.
They are committed to Georgia, Corey.
Come on, man. Come on.
Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Protect your home and your family. The Parker Brothers tell you the truth. If it's your roof, cause it's what we do. With quality, integrity, and pride. Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
At Parker Brothers Roofing, we understand that the decision to get a new roof is a big investment. It's an investment in building equity, an investment in your future, and an investment in the safety of you and your family in the event of a major storm. At Parker Brothers Roofing, we make it easy with free estimates, affordable financing, and professional installation every time since 1995. Visit ParkerBrothersRoofing.net today.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
Applications, onboarding, payroll, termination. Business owners and managers, these are the processes that take away too much time from what you do best. But what if there was a locally owned, responsive solution that would charge you a fraction of the big national payroll companies? Sound too good to be true? It's not. North Florida Payroll Services is Tallahassee owned for nearly 15 years. And in that time, their prices have never changed. The reason North Florida Payroll Services can do that? Exceptional customer service that constantly evolves with the latest technology. From application to termination, for turnkey service for your payroll and HR services, trust a Tallahassee expert and save yourself time and money. North Florida Payroll Services. Online at northfloridapayroll.com.
If you weren't the owner of Gordo's and all those wonderful restaurants, Eddie, what would you be doing?
I think I'd want to be I don't know what I'd want to be, a boat captain or a cowboy.
You know how to use a lasso?
No.
You'd have to do that if you were a cowboy.
Yeah, but I've never even been on a horse. It's not my place to be on a horse.
I agree. And the horse thanks you. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Hi, this is Justin Colvin, founder of the Medicare Help Desk. I routinely speak to seniors who are overwhelmed by the multitude of coverage options available to them. That's why I created the Medicare Help Desk radio show. Tune in every Sunday at 11:30 a.m. where I provide clear answers to all your questions about Medicare.
Many orthodontists in Tallahassee can straighten a smile, but at Birch Orthodontics, they're dedicated to providing the finest care possible. The experienced and friendly staff is trained in all of the latest techniques. So whether you need standard treatment like braces or Invisalign, or you have a more complicated case requiring extra attention, Birch Orthodontics is here for you. Set up your free consultation today by visiting birchorthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com, or call 850-877-1692. At Birch Orthodontics, they create beautiful smiles that last a lifetime.
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schoffel, and Corey Clark.
Next hour, don't forget, we get to headliner questions. I'm sure there'll be a bevy of them. And you hanging in there?
Yeah, I'm here.
It's the build-up towards tonight. And if you lose tonight, I know you don't believe you can win Game 7.
I don't believe they can win either one of these games. No, that's actually not true. I actually do feel weirdly confident about tonight, which I haven't been in this place. And yeah, I think Freed, the Astros, the last time they were in the World Series, they lost all 4 games at home. They lost one of their 2 games here at home, so they've lost 5 of 6 at home. It's not this den you can't win. And
it's also baseball. Typically,
Max Fried's due to pitch well. He's pitched horribly his last 2 games. I'd have pitched him in Game 5. Once I got a 4-0 lead, I'd be like, Max, I know get warmed up, buddy. You're pitching. We're winning tonight.
On the way back from Clemson, we're in the car. Aslan and I are in the front seat. Corey's in the back seat. And the game is on. The Braves are playing.
Yeah, you're listening.
We wanted to put it on the radio.
Of course.
He wouldn't let us.
Right.
Well, you guys are...
So we listened to NC State Louisville instead.
So we listened to some quality NC State. And then I guess the Braves, he'll follow the Braves account because it's only good news. It's only sunshine.
No, they never tell you.
They never be like, oh, that's a grand slam for the Astros.
And there's a 6-4-3 double play, despite the fact the bases were loaded with. Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, they just tied it up. He goes, I know that. And then they had actually taken the lead. So then Aslan's texting me. He's texting me that. And not that I'm driving and texting, but it was sitting there so I could see it. But anyway, it's just ridiculous.
It's
we have a Braves fan in the car, and he's the one who won't let us.
He won't let you. I'm listening to the World. You'd be glad I wasn't in that car, Corey. We're listening to the World Series.
I'd have to get my earmuffs on.
Yeah, because I'm not going to not listen to the World Series.
Well, put them in your AirPods.
Put your fingers in your ears.
But yeah, so what was funny about that though is literally I would probably refresh every 20-25 minutes, in literally no Braves updates for 2.5 hours.
And at that point, you're like,
and I'm like, it must be 11-0. Yeah. And then finally they showed Kyle Wright's stat line, and I'm like, okay, well, he only gave up a run, so they must only be down 1 or 2-0. And then I saw Dansby and Soler.
Are you going to watch tonight?
No.
Yeah.
No.
You're not going to watch the game tonight?
No.
I feel like if we're good friends, we would stage an intervention and make him watch it.
Yeah,
like I understand. Clockwork Orange, just peel my eyes open.
100%.
I'm terribly confused.
No, it's just not fun. It's not enjoyable. I enjoyed the most enjoyable game I've had, other than the ones I was at, was when they beat the Dodgers in Game 6 to go to the World Series. Old Daddy didn't watch a second of that game, but Daddy still celebrated when I saw the. I
don't feel like you've earned it. You don't even get to celebrate a championship. You didn't earn it. You didn't go out there and do anything.
Through it. I mean,
you couldn't handle it. You didn't
govern
your emotions.
I went to 2 of the games. I feel like I've earned it. I spent a little bit of money on those games, so it's fine. But hey, just root for me, please. Root for me. The Braves deserve it. I feel good about tonight. I never feel good. I feel like Freed's going to get it done, and I feel like Ozzie Albies might actually get a hit.
So if it doesn't happen tonight, though, you're not going to be bereft of hope, as I like to say. You're going to feel good even about Game 7 because you just said no. You feel like they'll still get it done.
Oh no, I'm not. I don't. It doesn't matter. I'm not.
Well, you're not going to watch.
I'm not watching. Yeah. I'll know on Thursday when I wake up if I need to go get a World Series champ shirt.
I think I care more about whether the Braves win this thing, and I'm willing to watch it play out than you do.
Well, here's the thing: if they do win this World Series, I will never do this again. But I'll never do this again. I'll have flushed all this out of my system
and saw none of it.
I saw a third of it, and I'll have my championship, and I'll be cool with everything else. Like when the Hawks are in the finals against the Lakers, I'll be able to watch every second. I won't be nervous again,
ever in your life.
No, this is it. I just got to get one more. I got to get one more title up in me. one more championship up in me, and that'll carry me for my life.
Ira, there's not a single team that you root for that you feel this way about that you
No,
wouldn't
even
watch.
like the last couple times the Orioles got in the stupid wild card game, I was like at the
It's
edge
that
of
late
my
90s, right?
the edge
With
of my
the-
couch.
like Jeffrey Mayer.
No, man, they've been the wild card since then. But like just sitting there, just
You couldn't wait to watch.
Yeah.
That's the reward for having gutted it out for
Well,
a
like
full
I told
season.
y'all too, though, postseason baseball is almost unwatchable.
It is difficult,
especially when there's no starting pitching. It's really hard to watch.
But it's also edge of your seat stuff, and that's why you get too nervous to watch it.
Yeah, don't need it.
The beautiful is the
most of
slow
games
burn in
have been-
baseball.
and most of the games have been good games.
Yeah.
And they've been
Well, hell,
competitive.
I don't know how you weren't emboldened after the Grand Slam.
I was very emboldened.
I don't know you.
And then Tucker Davidson strolled back out to the mound. I'm like, well, let's see how this goes against the best lineup in baseball.
I don't know, man. I can't have one of my team. Like, I watched every second of that Florida State game. I wasn't going to turn away when they took the lead late, even though Clemson had the ball and was driving. I didn't decide like, oh, I can't watch this, even though I felt a little bit like it might be inevitable that Clemson was going to score.
I'm not here arguing that what I'm doing is rational and logical and makes any sense or makes me a good sports fan. It's all stupid. I'll be in therapy for years after all this, but just know this is my plan. This is my game plan. I'm going to have a little victory sausage waiting, though.
Of course. Or pity sausage, one way or the other.
But either way, there's going to be some sausage.
So you guys, after the happy hour on Friday evening, you guys going to make it over to the Tuck, see the next exhibition game for the Noles?
So I am. My oldest son's birthday is on Thursday, and all he wants to do for his birthday weekend is to go see basketball.
There you go.
He's a hoop head. He's going to be trying out for his middle school or for his high school team, or his middle school team this year.
Brady tried out and did not make it, which was
For
not a
basketball?
surprise. Yeah.
But Bryce is going to try out, and I've got a hoop being built now, like a professional one, at my house as we speak.
Oh, all right. Look
It's
at you.
really nice. But there's
Did
that.
he dunk yet?
No, he can't dunk yet. But he can jump. He's
I
getting
know,
there.
and he's
Yeah,
tall.
He's 5'11".
Yeah.
But he's getting there, and I've really emphasized working on your handles at this point. I mean, because that's going to separate you. He's athletic enough in the other ways. He can run and jump. He can shoot. But I'm like, man, kids that play seriously don't get ganked.
Yeah.
Like, they don't just have people roll up on them, take the ball. You're going to have to be able to
Do
dribble.
you remember Michael Jenkins? He played at Ohio State.
Mhm.
His kid goes to Brady's middle school.
Oh,
and
that's-
you can imagine he's a pretty
He might be a
talented, athletic
pretty
kid.
good player.
He made the team?
Yeah. So he's in the 7th grade. He's the same age as Brady, but Brady's an 8th grader. He's the 7th grader. And Brady said literally the first drill in tryouts was Brady got the ball, and he's like, yeah, and of course Bryce is guarding me. And I go, oh no. I thought he wasn't even trying out for the team. He's like, oh no, they're all trying out, meaning all the really good players. And I'm like, how'd that go? Not well. It wasn't cool. Like, why did he have to guard me the first one? I was like, Brady, that's basketball, man. That's why you got to work on your handles a
You got to
lot,
work
buddy.
on your handles. I like the not well.
Yeah, not well. Didn't go well.
Didn't go well for me there. That didn't turn out the way that I had hoped. That didn't go well. Yeah. No, I'm interested to see how Bryce does. But the point is, he's a hoop head. He watches the NBA every night. He knows every team, every player. He'll ask me the scores the next morning. Like
there you go. Nice.
He'll ask scores about nonsense. He'll be like, "Did you see whether or not whomever the Clippers came back last night in that game against Oklahoma
right.
City?"
Yeah.
I'll be like, "No, I didn't catch it. I went to bed. Didn't catch it." He goes, "Why don't we pull that up and see?"
Yeah. The Clippers did come back.
They did. I
Yeah.
saw George hit a bunch of threes, but but it's funny. He's asking about it this morning while we're getting ready for school.
And how about Scotty Barnes,
So
by the way?
his point, yeah, he's
Jeez.
working. But the point is, he loves Leonard Hamilton. He went to, just like Brady did, Hamilton's basketball camp, and all he wants to do is go to every Florida State basketball game.
Yeah, they're fun, man. They're fun. That first exhibition was pretty cool. I expect them to be good, but I was even more pleasantly surprised.
Well, and Raekwon
especially
Evans.
The younger guys. Mostly the younger guys.
Okay. All
I mean,
right.
Raekwon,
he did have a nice game.
He played
hit
well,
some
man.
threes.
I feel like we know what we're going to get out of Raekwon Evans.
Well, he's got to. I want the Raekwon Evans from 2 years ago that wasn't afraid to shoot and make things, and as opposed to the one who played last
he
year.
played with confidence in this. We'll see how he does when they start playing.
Probably
this
didn't
season.
help that his backup was the number 4 pick in the draft. So he knew anytime he didn't do well, it's like, I bet they want Scotty on the floor.
I wonder. So Caleb Mills was fun, right?
Yeah. I mean, he's really smooth.
I wonder what ends up happening for Malik Osborne. Is he going to have to play more in the middle? Is he going to have to be more that guy?
I think they'll play him at the 5 a
Probably
lot.
a good
I don't think they like their
too.
big guys a lot.
Yeah.
Or their big guys are very
Well,
raw.
now wait a minute, Ira. How's your boy?
Tenor, he's fine, man. He's fine. He's gonna be just fine. I think he had 10 and 8, something like that.
Couple
Blocking
turnovers,
shots.
maybe a few
Couple
turnovers.
few turnovers.
Few
blocked
turnovers,
some shots.
still didn't look real fluid.
It wasn't really a good matchup for him.
Well,
Small
6'5"
guard
guys,
oriented.
yeah.
But no, man, he's gonna be fine. And but no, I really liked Worley. I really liked him a lot. Obviously, Cleveland. I mean, it's gonna be an interesting.
So Mills, they say, is going to be every night the quickest player on the floor.
he's and what it is, man, he's so smooth. Like he just has everything. Like every time you see him attack or decide what he's going to do, like there's no debate of whether or not he can do what he's planning to do.
In a natural score.
What's he going to do?
Yeah.
What about Matthew Cleveland?
Really good, man. Just every stat stuffer, kind of like the Terrence
6'7"
Mann kind of guy.
long,
very long.
Yeah, I think he's a better shooter now than Mann was when he got here, but the kind of similar attributes. Probably a more natural score than Terrence.
And
was
just
too.
steals, rebounds, looks to pass. That was the coolest thing to me was you have some new guys who have big reputations and are probably trying to figure things out, but they all really play to each other, which you expect from Leonard Hamilton's teams. But it's just cool to see it as freshmen. It's gonna be fun, man. I'm looking forward to watching it.
Me too. I'm looking forward to basketball.
I probably won't go over there that night, but I'm going to read the updates. And I also don't want just because Brady didn't make his middle school team. I don't want that to be a negative for the Leonard Hamilton basketball camp. It's still a good experience.
Oh, it's a great experience,
even if they,
But Brady's got some things to overcome at this stage of his.
I kind of tell him
he's also at a huge school in Atlanta with
with really talented players,
really good players. Yeah,
and he's still shorter.
He's short. Yeah, he's short for his grade. Not
Hour
for his
number
age.
2, forthcoming headliner questions. Hang it.
Show live and local on Real Talk 93.3 WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Virginia Congressman Rob Whitman says the Virginia gubernatorial race lays bare the key issues facing America.
Education, the economy, public safety, all those issues are incredibly important. And I believe that as we see the results of today's election, that's going to be a bellwether for what people want to see happen across our nation.
Republican Glenn Youngkin and Democrat Terry McAuliffe vying for the governorship in what has been seen as a close race. House Democratic Caucus Chairman Hakeem Jeffrey says Youngkin is too closely aligned with former President Trump.
Terry McAuliffe's track record speaks for itself, and we don't need Trump light in Virginia.
Both campaigns working to drive up turnout in the high-stakes battle that will be scrutinized as a bellwether ahead of next year's midterm elections. Also at townhall.com, the Defund the Police movement is on the ballot today in Minneapolis, and its outcome could guide other cities considering similar change.
Voters are deciding whether to replace the police department with a new Department of Public Safety. This comes more than a year after George Floyd's death by an officer launched a movement to abolish or defund police across the country. Mayor Jacob Fry is also in a tough fight for a second term. He opposes the policing amendment and faces a bevy of opponents who attacked his leadership after Floyd's death and support the proposal. Results from the ballot question are expected tonight, but the mayoral race is a question mark because Minneapolis uses ranked choice voting. I'm Julie Walker.
In Scotland, President Biden announcing key steps at the UN Climate Summit to stop methane leaks and invest in infrastructure abroad to limit global warming. They're among the few major policies he can implement that do not require Congress to approve. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Why are cash out refinances such a big deal right now? Uncle Ryan tries to teach me something.
I really feel like right now might be a once in a lifetime opportunity. I've been doing this for 18 years now, and I've just never seen a market where the rates are so low and values across the country have skyrocketed as much as they have. That combination, I remember one couple in particular, they were looking to do some home improvements at the house, but they were worried about their payments going up. Well, with rates being so low and them building up so much equity in the home over the last few years, we were able to get them the cash out for those home improvements, and their payments actually went down a little bit. Every single situation is different, but it does happen more often than you think. So it definitely does not hurt to call.
We are United Faith Mortgage.
United Faith Mortgage is a DBA of United Mortgage Corp. 25 Middle Park Road, Melbourne, New York. Licensed mortgage banker. For all licensing information, go to nmlsconsumeraccess.org. Corporate NMLS number 1330. Equal housing lender. License Alaska, Hawaii, Georgia, Massachusetts, North Dakota, South Dakota, or Utah.
Barry knows cool. He's keeping you comfortable.
This is Kyle, Service Manager from Barano Heating and Air. Schedule an appointment from your mobile device to learn about our Total Comfort Service Program. With guaranteed same-day service, 15% off necessary repairs, and $25 berry bucks to use towards air filters and other products. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Any day, anytime, anywhere. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
Live and living color and totally free. Subscribe to Warchant TV on YouTube, the digital home of Warchant.com. From the practice field to pregame and the phone calls afterwards, Warchant's YouTube channel is home to live programming like Seminole Headlines, Wake Up Warchant, The Jeff Cameron Show, as well as Trench Talk, a live Q&A with Noles offensive lineman Devontae Love-Taylor. Just search Warchant on YouTube and click or tap the subscribe button. That's it. It's totally free. Warchant TV on YouTube. Just another reason we're the ultimate Seminole sports source.
Seminole Headlines is brought to you by Register Sausage, serving the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. To find a store near you or to buy directly from Registers, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com.
It's time for Seminole Headlines, featuring Warchant.com's Jeff Cameron, managing editor Ira Schoffel, and senior writer Corey Clark. Your weekly dose of all things FSU, pistols, and pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
Hour number 2, Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. It's time to get the headliner questions. Before we do, let's say hello to our good friend, Dr. Birch. Birch Orthodontics, sponsoring the hour, the ride and die orthodontist that she is. Heather is doing, Dr. Birch, I should say. I'm so comfortable with her.
Right,
So
yeah.
well.
And you will be too.
Yeah. Doing such a good job that my oldest, who does turn 14 on Thursday, doesn't even complain about the braces.
Nice.
Doesn't even complain about them. That's how good and how solid the work has been. Every now and then when he gets adjusted, he's kind of like, less than 24 hours later, silence. He's perfectly pleased. So my point is, don't be afraid. Get in there and get the work done.
Yeah.
It's going to be all right. Your kids will thank you for it.
Don't be a baby, right?
Don't be a baby.
Dr. Birch won't put up with babies coming in there.
Yeah. Don't tell her that you won't watch a second of your favorite team in the World Series.
That's correct.
Make those braces
BirchOrthodontics.com.
real tight.
That's the website, and they have free consultations, tremendous work, and also difficult cases, free consultations, payment plans, everything you could ask for and more, and tremendous football knowledge.
Yeah.
Good conversations. Yeah, good conversations to have there. All right. So I would have thought.
By the way, I think she could help in the portal. I feel like, don't you think that an orthodontist could maybe throw out a few bones to a wide receiver?
Orthodontic care?
Well,
like if you sign with Florida State, like give some braces?
That's something. Or
Some
just
Invisalign?
money from the business to advertise.
Tony wants to know, first question on Facebook. Hey guys, what do you sell recruits to get them to consider FSU when apparently playing time doesn't seem to work? There are a lot of players going to stacked teams already like Georgia, Alabama, or Ohio State. They probably won't see the field for a year or two.
I think stacks was the key word in that sense.
Yeah, stacks.
But I mean, I don't know how you can say that. Florida State's got a top 10 recruiting class. I mean, they're doing well.
In the 90s. In the 90s, it was different because Spurrier would always say, "I don't understand how Florida State keeps getting all these kids to commit when they have all these USA Today All-Americans anyway." Players want to go play at places that produce NFL guys and win games, but they also want to play. And so, you might lose somebody to Georgia for a year, and then when they see, I don't know that I'm ever going to play here. I mean, the whole landscape is different.
Yeah, the transfer portal has changed things. The other thing, though, the reason that
You
it
can
happened
recruit
the way
kids
that it did in the 90s,
3 years in a row,
was because there were only so many high-profile teams that got the bulk of the media
Right.
attention.
Yeah.
So if you went to Boise because you could play right away, well, good luck. Nobody's ever going to see you.
Yeah.
Now every team is on TV every weekend. Every game could be found rather easily with a couple clicks.
Yeah.
So that changed the landscape as well. Mike writes, reflecting on my 6th trip to Clemson, it has become clear to me why that area was chosen for the cinematic masterpiece Deliverance. If Clemson ever changes their fight song to dueling banjos, that will be the toughest road environment in the country. Corey, when we took the late lead, did it ever cross your mind that you might be rolling down that cold, wet hill?
Yeah, it did. I was wondering what the security. I didn't even look after the game. I don't think there was anybody up there. We were on the field to do we could have just walked up that hill. So it
Could've
did
done some
occur
damage,
to me.
Ira.
Yeah, we could have.
I didn't know if I was going to roll or just run down it. How that would have happened. So it's probably better. Well, I shouldn't say that. But yes, I was thinking once they got the 3 and out, I'm like, man, they could, because I really did. I thought, you know what? This is the moment where Jordan Travis is going to bust something. He's going to bust something.
But there
and
was no evidence prior to that
Right.
drive
Which
to
do.
suggest that was about to happen.
Much like Max Fried tonight. Not a lot of evidence he's going to pitch well here the last couple starts, but I
you just think it's going to happen.
I felt it in my bones, deep down in my plums.
I guess
And
Max is in trouble tonight.
it didn't work out well. But I just thought they would hammer out a couple first downs, and then that would be they'd be able to close out the game. And
The
then
old 1.9 yards per carry prior to that led you to
Didn't.
believe they're going to hammer out some
It
first downs.
didn't happen. Well, look, if Malik McClain gets a hand on a cornerback, I think you get some yards on that first play or the second, whenever that was when he missed the block.
After the false start.
Yeah, well, in the false start, man,
It's a toughie.
That's tough to overcome.
But, a lot of that does have to do directly with getting your ass kicked. all
Well,
night
in
long.
the by the way, just to
Wanting
clarify,
get an early start.
Deliverance was filmed in Rabun County, Georgia. It's a point of pride for us Georgians.
Yeah, a lot of
to
pride.
point that out. It was the Chattooga River.
Matt writes, with all the money in college football, can the NCAA do anything with the referees in this sport? You don't see near the same amount of blown calls on Sundays that you see on Saturdays. Conferences really need to either pay these guys to be better or start training them year round.
Yeah, it's funny, and Norvell brought it up yesterday because nobody talks about it because it was at a kind of inconsequential time, I guess. Although when you play the way Florida State did offensively and you only have as many snaps as they did, everything's consequential. But that play where they marked Jordan Travis is going out of bounds when he threw it, didn't make any sense. And Norvell even said yesterday he wanted to challenge it. We were watching him because when it happened,
Because you could see,
and he actually started going over towards the referee that was on the sideline, but then they snapped the ball and he decided not to do it. But they, the pass interference, I knew for sure they were going to call it. Somebody was going to call it just because of where it was.
Yeah.
Because Clemson was at home, and I just felt like they were going to make that call for the fans, if nothing else.
Well, and it's frustrating because you do feel like emotion does play a big part
100%.
a lot of times in the way officials call games. And I know they're trying not to do that, but look at any play on the sidelines.
Yeah.
It's a direct reaction to coaches throwing their headset and fans freaking out.
Especially depending on what
They're
sideline it
always
is.
usually, I'm saying they can't wait to throw that flag. That
look
really
at,
bothers me. But
look-
I will say this, the Johnson one, Jerry Johnson one was interference. The Noles one was not. Jerry Jones. The Noles one was not.
No.
But unfortunately, I know there's no face guarding in college football. He was slightly beat, so he has to come back. He does time it perfectly, but I had a bad feeling because he doesn't get his head at all around that they were going to throw it.
Yeah, in on the DJ Lundy hit, they're just going to call.
They're
that.
always going to call that.
But that was my point to Ira is that whether he's inbounds or close to inbounds, they're always going to call it when it's on that sideline and it's a quarterback. But
you know what? Here's the
Trayshawn
problem with
Ward's. But the problem with that is Trayshawn Ward's next kickoff return after they scored on that drive.
Yeah.
It's almost the exact same kind of hit.
Clobbered out of bounds.
But he was on Clemson's sideline.
The other thing
So
is,
it didn't count.
And it drives me nuts too because they're doing so much to protect players on the opposing team's sideline. But that's exactly how Syracuse got screwed. I mean, if you think about it from their perspective, Jordan Travis is running out of bounds, and then he's like, "Oh, you're going to stop? All right. Well, I'm an athlete. I'll stop on a dime too and run another 20 yards." And defensive players don't have a chance anymore.
Right.
I also think Lundy was gassed, and when you watch it back, man, he's just kind of like gassed and just kind of lunges at the guy.
But like Fuller said yesterday, like you got to know quarterback sideline. Take it easy. Don't give him an excuse to throw a flag, even if you don't agree with it.
Daniel writes, I don't have a question today, guys. Just request that the University of Florida keeps Dan Mullen forever. Yeah, he's fun. He's fun to listen to.
I don't think you're going to get your wish.
I don't think so either. But so long as that they don't go in the tank here in these next 3 games, and they shouldn't because South Carolina's terrible, and then they've got some other like Sisters of the Poor and something. I don't think they're going to fire him.
No,
I think Grantham's gone.
Well, and he might leave on his own, man. It's not a good situation. And they don't like him, and I'm sure he doesn't like them.
Well, right. Now, there's evidence to suggest he's doing everything he can to get fired. Yeah. But I don't think they would fire him if they don't have to.
He's just such a weird dude, man. Just such a weird
bit of an
dude.
understatement. Yeah, he is. Corey Braves and 6 writes Dustin. Hope you all enjoyed the cigars. Don't forget to share with Jeff, Ira, and Aslan. Love the show, guys. Question is the program still headed in the right direction if we lose the last 4 games?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Is Florida retained if that happens? And what other coaching changes would you make, if any? Writes Dustin. Well, here's the thing. We said before the year started, no matter the record, they're not firing Mike Norvell. Is there a chance that you make changes on the staff? Yeah, I think there's a chance. And I think right now that's what's up in the air here. I think we have questions about a couple of guys. But there are games still to be played. If they play well and they continue to show growth, then those guys keep their job and we have continuity. I think it's important if you can have continuity, do so. There's still maybe a couple of changes, but
it would be huge for them, for all of them, to win 2 of these 4 games.
Yeah, it'd be really important.
I think they can win 2 of these 4 games. If they win 3, great. If you only win 1, it'd be dicey. If you lose all of them, yeah, that's going to be.
If you only win 1, I would say, and it would be, it depends on which one. I mean, if you beat Miami, that's a big one to win.
Yeah.
Beat Florida, that's a big one to win. If the one is just BC, doesn't feel as good.
Yeah.
Because I could live with just 1 more win. I don't want that. I'd love to win 3, 4 more games, hell. But I could live with 1 more win if it's a good win. If it's just that you beat BC and then you get beat by the other 3 good teams that remain on the schedule, that's a toughie. It would have you really lamenting once again the Jacksonville State game, because at that point you'd say, well, they went 5-7, and that's kind of what we thought was possible.
Yeah, I think almost you have to, as a fan, maybe if they go 4-8, just go ahead and chalk up that Jacksonville State one as a win and say, you know what, we're not worried about that. That was just a goofy final minute.
Well, but
they're 5-7.
But if you're assessing Fuller, that minute
that
reflects
was a
poorly
tough one.
upon him.
Absolutely.
That receiver now, after 8 or 9 games, maybe 9 games, he's up to like 170 yards of receiving this year.
Oh, good. So that was half of it.
8 games since then, he's
yeah, that was his Toafili moment. By the way, good for Toafili. I think that better give him some confidence. And that gave him confidence in him because he was out there when it mattered after that play.
And he played well last
yeah,
week too.
so that's good to see. But
last week, I mean.
If they finish 4-8, let's just go ahead and say they finish 5-7. Let's assume that. Let's go ahead and give them the Jacksonville State game. But again,
that one counts.
Sure,
man.
but like
that's what goes into assessment.
But assessment of
your staff.
But his question was, would you still feel like they're going in the right direction if they only won? I feel like you do, as long as these games aren't reminiscent of last year. If you still, you've lost basically 3 games on the final play. You've lost 3 of. But I mean, you have. You also won one on the final play. But last year, every loss was an embarrassment. This year, at least, you're close.
No. Again, we'll reiterate, they're better.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean they're anywhere near where you want them to be just yet. And there have been mistakes made.
Sure, but I feel like you would still say they're incrementally, they're getting better. The program is still heading in the right direction.
I think.
But then also, if you go 3-9, if you don't win another game, that's tough to make that sell.
It's distinctly possible.
Yes.
I was encouraged on Saturday, right, Stewart? We are finally getting better, and it's a lot of fun to watch. Are you as worried as I am about the Miami game now?
Yeah.
They have not quit like I thought they would. Corey, the Astros burn their pitchers to stay alive and force Game 6. Our fresh pitchers will take it home tonight. So we say, I'm worried about Miami. Yes.
But
yes, I'm worried about Miami.
I am more concerned about, I think NC State's a worse matchup. I think defenses travel better than offenses. I don't think that quarterback's going to play as well at Doak as he has played so far. And I think Florida State's offense will play much better against Miami's defense than we saw them against Clemson. I don't know how well their offense is going to play against NC State. So that, to me, at home, I'd rather play a worse defense and trust my defense against their quarterback. So I think
even that quarterback.
Yeah, man. I think Miami's a better matchup for Florida State than NC State. I personally.
He's got a little Mahomes in him.
Oh.
Here we go. Well, the current version of Mahomes is pretty average.
Well, yeah.
So
what's going on with the Chiefs?
Nuts to watch, right?
Yeah.
They should have lost last night.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
They got bailed out with an interception. They called the guy offside. He wasn't.
Well, close.
Yeah.
He did jump in the neutral zone, buddy.
Man.
I mean,
he jumped near the neutral zone.
Yeah,
but it's also not why he threw that pass.
No, of course he got bailed out.
Yeah,
but
he just looks off. Everything about him looks.
Well, I think he's probably trying to do an awful lot. Typically they have one of the worst defenses in football. They didn't last night, but they typically do. So who knows?
Yeah, with Peyton, and I'm sure they talked to their coordinators and coaches. He was saying it's just he won't take the simple throw. He's just trying to do too much.
Oh yeah, and it happened last night twice. The touchdown pass to Hill, he's got a wide open Kelsey standing there looking at him 3 feet away, like, my man, that's the throw. Yeah. But that would have required him to not look further into the end zone. It's just kind of weird. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment.
You know how I feel about supporting local. You also know that I love dad jokes. So it really bugs me when somebody I know calls anyone other than Paul's Termite and Pest Control. This year marks 50 years that Paul's has been servicing our community as a family-owned business. That really means something. All treatment decisions are made right here, not some corporate headquarters 100 miles away, but right here. Local knowledge means they know exactly when and how to beat certain issues that are unique to our region. All decisions about North Florida made by North Floridians, and being local doesn't always mean small. Paul's is the largest locally owned termite pest and lawn company in the region, but you'll always get the small town treatment and quick service also. Paul's offers a same-day treatment guarantee if you call by noon. If you see something in the morning that's not supposed to be in your house, call Paul's and they'll get them all that same afternoon. It's that easy. For the elimination of termites or any other pest, and for a greener lawn too, visit callpauls.com.
It all started with a simple family dream, some hard work, and the foundation of honest, loyal, and fair customer service. Now, Spartan Stoneworks is Tallahassee's premier granite, marble, and quartz specialist. Your kitchen is your family's gathering place. So let a company with strong family values bring your kitchen back to life. Stop wishing for your new kitchen and call Spartan Stoneworks today at 510-4249. That's 510-4249. Online at SpartanStoneworks.com.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take-home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat-screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
If you weren't the owner of Gordo's and all those wonderful restaurants, Eddie, what would you be doing?
You know, I think I'd want to be I don't know what I'd want to be, a boat captain or a cowboy.
You know how to use a lasso?
No.
You'd have to do that if you were a cowboy.
Yeah, but I've never even been on a horse. It's not my place to be on a horse.
I agree. And the horse thanks you. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
If you're worried about your hard-earned dollars becoming worthless or your 401k or IRA losing value, now is the time to move into gold. No, not gold or silver stocks, but real gold and silver you can actually hold in your hands. How do you get real gold and silver? By calling Oxford Gold today at 833-600-GOLD. The Oxford Gold Group will teach you everything you need to know about owning real gold and silver. It's a lot easier than you think. Call the Oxford Gold Group right now at 833-600-GOLD to get your free gold and silver investment guide. Put your savings and retirement accounts into something real, like gold and silver. Get your free Oxford Gold Group investment guide today and learn how easy it is to have real gold and silver delivered to your home, or how you can have real gold and silver in your retirement account. Don't sit back and watch your savings and retirement account suffer. Now is the time to make your money work as hard for you as you did for your money. So do this. Call the Oxford Gold Group right now, today, 833-600-GOLD. That's 833-600-GOLD.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schoffel, and Corey Clark.
This isn't surprising. We have several questions in this vein. Brett writes, I think Corey could do a better job of fielding punts than our guys. At least do that better than he does hour number 2. And yeah, so there are several. I want to combine some of those Facebook questions that are all asking about what gives. And I agree. It is. It's exacerbating. It's difficult to watch.
Yeah. Papu just even said, because the UMass kid, you remember those punts? Those were incredible.
Yeah.
He's like, I've never in my life had 3 returners back because we knew the punts were going to be sprayed everywhere. He goes, we didn't catch any of them either. It's like, so what gives? I don't know.
Can we ban, of all the things that have hurt sports, that analytics and other things have brought to sports, can we ban those kicks? Because think of, like, Peter Warwick never would have done anything in terms of as a return guy.
Yeah.
T-Buck.
You should have to have a pocket, like in the quarterback. Like if you roll outside the pocket as a punter, you have to run at that point.
I don't know, man. If I was kicking to Peter Warwick, I would have avoided him.
You would have tried not to.
I would have said, I don't want to kick it to Peter Warwick. Why am I going to do that?
Ira's point is they get to run around forever. The coverage gets down there. You kick a line drive. You can't hit him.
No, I'm saying if he's running around with the ball in his hand, you can absolutely hit him.
I'm saying that. Okay, yeah. If the punter rolls outside the pocket, you're
allowed to hit them.
No, but as he kicks it, after he kicks it, I don't care.
You lose the protection.
You lose your protection as a punter if you're outside the pocket. You can get destroyed. So
I
do
think
it at your own
it
peril.
already exists.
Do they?
Yes.
No, you can still get called for roughing the punter, though.
No. If he's outside of it, you can hit him. You can if he's got the ball in his hand and he's running,
No,
and
I'm
he hasn't
saying
kicked
you-
yet, and
you
he's
hit-
outside, no, you can hit him.
I'm saying as he's kicking it, and you don't hit the ball, you still should be able to knock him on his butt
Double check it. I think you can hit him.
as he's kicking it.
I haven't seen anybody do it because nobody ever gets there. Nobody tries to block
I
the punt
love it.
anymore.
That's what they need to do. They just need to make these guys, because punters aren't probably, no offense to our man Keith, punters probably aren't the toughest guys on the field. And if they get drilled a couple
Fighting
times,
words.
maybe they'll stop wanting to, coach, can I just catch it and punt? One step and punt, like Ray Guy?
Double check it. I think that if they're outside if you're describing a pocket, if they're running to do a rugby kick and they have the ball and you get to them in time, you can absolutely light them.
My point is, though, it stinks because
Yeah.
that was a fun part of sports.
Yeah.
Like punt returns were cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so are kick returns.
Well, but kick returns they got rid of for safety reasons.
But don't care.
Well, I know you don't care.
I
I'm just
do
saying that's
care,
what
actually,
they
but
did.
yeah.
That's why they did it.
But still, it was, punt returns are awesome. They're a lot of fun to watch, or they used to be.
Not
you're right.
anymore.
Yeah.
Well, especially if you like punt returns, don't watch Florida State.
Yeah, well, they don't even catch
rules
the ball.
aside,
Why don't
they don't catch the damn
just
ball at all.
Rush 11. Rush 11. What are you doing? You're not going to catch it anyway. Rush 11. You might be able to knock that rolling punter on his butt.
Michael wants to know, seems like we can't win the big one yet. See Notre Dame and Clemson removing emotions. How do we realistically look at that Miami and Florida game? Miami just won 2 big games in a row. Clemson's anemic offense just scored their most points of the year versus us. Florida will be in the swamp. Yeah, we've talked about some of this already. Yeah, I don't know where Florida's head will be at. If Florida cares to play and try real hard, they'll beat Florida State. As far as the NC State game, we already admitted we're all very nervous about that game just from a matchup standpoint. I want to see how they play. I mean, I think Florida State should go beat Boston College. That offense now has taken such a dreadful step back after the injuries. If they don't go beat BC, that is problematic. I will have a lot to say about that if that doesn't happen. In terms of these games coming up, they'll be underdogs. So how do you play?
Yeah.
I mean, do you lose 27-20 as you alluded to earlier, or do you get beat 34-10?
And when you think about these 5 opponents, you didn't play them all, but if you'd have played all these 5 opponents last year, you had no chance against any of them. Maybe BC, but they didn't play BC, did they? But they got worked by NC State.
No.
Miami destroyed them. Yeah. Florida and Clemson could have both scored 100 if they wanted to, and BC would have beaten them.
Yeah,
like
that
a
team
drum.
a year ago was closer to a 1-win team than a 3-win
or a 0-win team.
They had to beg Duke to come late after a month of not playing football, and that was what it was. They beat Jacksonville State for their win.
So the point being, I feel like they're going to be underdogs in most of these games, but just like the game on Saturday, I think they have a chance going into this week, just like in the Florida week. They have a chance to win if they play well, or if Florida plays poor, whatever. Last year it wouldn't have mattered.
We'll worry about, I guess.
But you know what I mean? Like, I do feel like, I know that's not what we do here.
Not what we're doing, man.
We're not, but we're covering a 4-8, 5-7 type football
But
team.
also, there were so many mitigating factors from a year ago. I don't even really look at that and compare the 2 seasons. Yes, they're a better team.
But I like
think
that
they're better, objectively better for a lot of different reasons.
We
but
knew they couldn't beat NC State last year. Like, I went up there, it was pointless. We knew what was going to happen. This time, you actually got a shot. And I am very interested to see, like, they can say, let's take Brent Venables' plan. Let's do exactly to Jordan Travis what Brent Venables did. Okay, well, we'll see if you can do it, if you have the guys that can do it.
Right.
Not everybody does.
No, Clemson has a top 3 defense in the country. That what happened up there is what I thought would happen.
Yeah.
That doesn't make me a Mensa. Anybody could have kind of looked at that and said, problematic to try to block them.
Yeah.
But I do think it's problematic to try to block NC State, too. Not quite the same way it is with Clemson. Ira's right. This is not a good matchup.
No.
This is... if I had to bet, I'd bet on NC State to win this game. And I'm not going to bet on it. And I'm not saying it's not winnable, but I'm very concerned about it. And I'm concerned, we'll see. Where is their head at? They have proven that they're a resilient bunch, though.
And the one place where the defense has played so much better than it's played in years is situationally. They're much better in the red zone. They're much better in just different situations than they have been in the past. And that's, they were really good on third down the other night. So that's a play. They have to do that again because NC State's going to move the ball with
man, and you're not going to intercept them. You're probably not going to sack them. That just doesn't happen to that guy.
Yeah, it's interesting looking at that team. Of course, I'm trying to find like teams that we have faced. Obviously, they beat Clemson in overtime, 27-21, and then of course they played Louisville and they beat them 28-13 last week. So they come off. Leary is just good. I'm looking at those numbers over and over again. He's a good player. It's
a lot of good quarterbacks in the ACC, man. Really, there are.
Yeah, Leary's good. Well,
right, let's get back to
he's
questions.
not as good as the Miami guy, but he's close.
You've really made this a bit.
No, I mean, the guy has come out of nowhere to. Yeah, it's just nuts.
Nancy wants to know, will Comcast ever get the ACC network?
No.
Allegedly.
No, I don't believe it.
Are we hearing that it's going to happen anytime soon?
We've been hearing it for a while, but yeah. It's supposed to. I mean, because it's all part of the Comcast Disney negotiations, which is a much bigger issue than just the ACC network, but they're going to be in there whenever that happens.
Gator Kirk said, hey, we played poor on offense, still had a chance to win. Frustrating. What would be the impact on the program if we finished 3-9 with FSU being competitive in each game?
I said that's kind of my overriding point is I think it's minimal. Whether you're 5-7 or 3-9, you're still a losing football team. But if you show that you're competitive and you made strides, I would think that nuance would matter to most of the people you're recruiting. I would think. But hey, man, go get you a couple more wins.
Yeah,
Let's not even have that conversation.
It would probably help.
Yeah. I don't think it certainly wouldn't help.
Games would do
it wouldn't
right,
help
yeah.
to go 3-9.
Miles writes, fellas, our special teams unit has brought me to the point where I physically will be able to I will physically be unable to have children. On punt returns, let's line up all 11 men in 5-yard increments. That way, maybe one of them will catch the punt before the ball hits the ground.
Like diagonally.
One yard.
Like a zigzag.
I agree.
And sometimes you move the zigzag before he punts, so it really confuses them. That's a great idea, actually.
Max Johnson is referenced here, by the way.
Okay.
Michael writes, if throwing your balls in the air is wrong, I don't want to be right. That's the Jermaine Johnson play. Hashtag save us, Max Johnson. I've started a movement.
Yeah, but like
I've started a movement.
Nobody could blame that game on Jordan Travis.
I thought he played pretty poor.
Well, right, but who plays pretty well against that defense and with those receivers?
Yeah, I was going to say Pickett played well, but again, very different team.
Yeah.
Well,
throw Pickett in
better offensive line.
Yeah. No, listen, we're not going to do this thing. I mean, we're allowed to criticize Jordan Travis.
Yeah, but it's hard to gauge. It's hard to is it what he did against Syracuse and North Carolina more indicative of how you would grade him and Notre Dame, which he didn't play all that well either.
No.
Isn't that more indicative than that defense?
Oh, I mean, it was an impossible
Georgia scored
matchup. I'm not
3
saying
points against them.
So, no, I know, I agree.
So that's
terrible for him.
Let's see what these next 4 games look like before we start clamoring for Max Johnson. Because
Jordan
Travis I know you have.
I'm going to continue.
That ship has sailed.
Yeah.
With you, but I saw that on Twitter, like people blaming Jordan Travis. Like, yeah, no, he didn't play well. Who does? Good luck.
Okay, the only thing that I think is fair. So this is nuanced because I think you're right. To expect him to have a good game against that defense with the limitations this offense has, sure, I agree. It'd be pretty hard. If you go back, and I don't know, maybe Tom will do it. Well, he's got to look ahead on 3rd and Lang for Warchant.com. But if you go back, man, I can show these to you if you want me to. There are a lot of plays where I think it's maybe a little bit nerves from the fact that his offensive line is getting caved in early in the game.
That would affect you a little bit.
I think so. But, man, they did. This is a credit. To me, this is a credit to Dillingham and Norvell. There are plenty of plays there for the taking that he doesn't make.
You talking about with his arm or
with his arm?
Yeah, okay.
That he doesn't even bother to look at.
Yeah. Hey, look, man, he's got to grow. The quarterbacks grow, and I think what gets lost in the criticism of Travis is if you put a mere mortal running back, a mere mortal at quarterback,
oh no,
they can't
we
run.
already saw it. We already saw what happens.
So
McKenzie Milton was there; they couldn't run the ball.
So he's good enough for right now. He might not be good enough to win you a championship.
Oh, without question, he's the guy they have to play.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing that. But it's plays like this that doesn't do us any good on radio that drive me nuts. I can do this like 7 different screenshots for you where there are people wide the hell open within a second of the snap, and he makes the wrong read.
He doesn't see it quickly yet. He might not ever see it quickly, but what he gives you is what you need right now until you get better around him. Like Max Johnson, if they had Max Johnson,
he'd make that throw I just showed
but
you. I guarantee
they wouldn't win that game, and what would their record be?
I don't know that they wouldn't win that game. They nearly won the game.
But what would their record be? Like you don't know how does Venables guard? How does Venables?
Well, he'd have to guard the whole. He'd have to do more than what he did. He'd have to defend everything.
I guess. I think his running ability creates some things that Max Johnson wouldn't create.
I don't disagree with that in the run.
So
game.
It's hard to know what the production looks like. That's all. I don't know. Again, I know Max Johnson's great. Loved his dad here for the 4 starts.
Max Johnson doesn't. I'm not necessarily saying they have to go get Max Johnson. You get where I'm going with.
Yeah,
this.
you would like a guy that you can trust, sees it, and gets it out of his hands.
Well, I'd like a
quicker.
guy that's more balanced, certainly.
Sure,
and
but
throws the ball more accurate.
For right now, with the limitations this whole
we've
offense
never had
has,
we've never had an argument about that.
Yeah, that's all. So, so bringing somebody to compete with them, they're going to lose to Jordan Travis too, and we're going to keep rolling along.
Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues to vote.
Your local news now.
The Leon County government filed a petition for formal administrative proceedings Monday afternoon in an attempt to fight the fines imposed by the Florida Department of Public Health. The more than $3.5 million COVID vaccine-related fines were announced in October. The fines were for 714 counts of violating COVID vaccine mandates, Florida statutes, and ultimately firing 14 employees. Each fine is equal to $5,000 per person. The 23-page petition outlines Leon County's belief that it did not violate the state statutes and asks that the fine be withdrawn. If that does not happen, the county is asking that orders be entered to show that the fine amount is incorrect. A man was seriously injured in a shooting on Dixie Drive Monday afternoon. TPD said that the shooting happened in the 100 block of Dixie Drive just after 2 p.m. TPD also added that this is an active and open investigation with updates being provided as more information becomes available. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at macklemoresystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Bright sunshine expected this afternoon with highs around 76. Winds out of the north, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear skies tonight, lows around 54. Clear skies and quiet tomorrow, high of 75. Low 70s Thursday with a chance for scattered showers. Much cooler Friday with highs in the low 60s. Showers continue. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 76.
Hi, this is Rowdy Lawson from Lawson & Lawson Electric. Let's talk about your 2021 hurricane preparedness plan. Are you prepared? Do you have a plan for when the power goes out? A Cummins home standby generator is more affordable than you think. At Lawson & Lawson Electric, we can help you with your home and your business. There's no job too big or too small. We stand by every job we do and consider it a privilege to be recognized as the best in Tallahassee. Give us a call at 562-4111 or online at llelectrical.com.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Welcome to the Swamp.
20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown! This place, yes indeed, it's an inside asylum.
Catch the Gators in action all season long.
Here's Hill jumping back, and down he goes. They got him. The Gators sack Colin Hill.
Right here on your home for Florida Gators football. This is Real Talk 93.3.
Seminole Headlines is brought to you by Register Sausage, serving the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. To find a store near you or to buy directly from Registers, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com.
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schoffel, and Corey Clark.
Hey, fellers, I found Register Sausage in my Publix all the way down here in Port Charlotte, writes Thomas.
Nice.
Thomas
Okay.
told us that. Yeah.
Takeover continues.
Yeah. Yay, sausage, he writes. I think I have a problem, guys. I, too, am a sporting guy like old Jeffy. I had a pretty good year heading into the weekend, but I better bet with my heart on FSU.
You handicapped it perfectly. That's just that last play is a debacle. It's a disaster. Toa Feely got banged up on it. It was just a dumb play. You deserve to win that game.
Probably deserve to win that bet. You could argue some other ways. Like, whenever you get a bad beat, like, you have to look at the totality of the game
Well,
and say, was I
did
fortunate
miss-
to be in it? They did miss 3 field goals. Of course, they didn't do anything on offense except for the one drive. So, I mean, the one big play. So, yeah, I don't know. I did think as it played out in slow motion, because I've been on the wrong end of those. I didn't bet the game, but as I watched that, I was like, holy moly. Because that also, by the way,
It's also a great
took
win.
it to the over.
It's a great win if you bet on Clemson.
Yeah, it's
like,
an
people always talk
incredible
about the bad beats. What about the great wins? That's a great moment in gambling history.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy it didn't work out.
And it's amazing as you're watching it, you're like, okay, I know what's going to happen here. You can
Yeah,
just
it's-
see
it
it
happens
in
all the
super
time.
slow motion. It does happen a lot. And,
Yeah.
And every time a team tries to do that, you're like, oh no. Oh, if you're aware of the line, one way or the other, you're immediately thinking, oh,
Yeah.
good God. Sean writes, after a gritty performance by our Noles, I felt the end of the game was a disaster in coaching. On the punt, you've got to return or at least go after it, not let the ball go. Well, I don't think, Sean, first of all, I'm going to interrupt this first part of the question here, wherever this is going. That's not coaching. Nobody taught him to do that. Nobody said, don't.
Oh, I feel like he's talking about the last punt,
Yes,
right?
he is.
So Papuchas talked about that today and said that they wanted to act like they were going to block a kick, and then they set up a return left. And they had never seen Clemson roll to the right and punt back to the left like they did, and so that's why Trayshawn didn't go get it, because they were expecting a punt to the right, and they were going to have a return set up to the left.
And I don't know that he could have got any. I don't give him any hell for that.
Man, at
it's
that
all
point,
the other punts that they don't
yeah.
feel that bother me.
Yeah.
When we have the ball, when we're down and we have the ball to take, you have to take what the D gives you there, quick outs to the sidelines, all that stuff to try to set up the Hail Mary. I honestly don't even know what the last play was. Just a bad look. The end of the game felt like it was completely mismanaged. Well, I think they're limited. When the other team knows that Jordan has to throw the ball and it's a drop back pass game,
Yeah, but he's talking
dead
about
in the water.
What's the point, number one, of a? I mean, I guess if you catch the Hail Mary, you're at the 4-yard line. You can come spike the ball up with 2 seconds left, and you got a shot to throw in the end zone. But then, what's the point of the last play? What possible what outcome is that? Practice? Like Keyshawn Helton catches it and starts running backwards.
Ran backwards. You're taught to run to the space runs out before you get rid of the ball there.
It just it's
they
not
had
why you lost the game. But
it would appear they hadn't practiced.
You maybe try to get a ball in the middle of the field.
That reeks of desperation, and that's fine. I don't worry about plays in which the clock is run dry and you're out of time. You're just running around crazy. I can live with that. It's the other stuff that typically I think is worth complaining about. And I don't know that last play changes anything about the way you feel about the game. I guess if you had money on it,
yes,
it does. But if you didn't, I didn't turn off my TV because of that last play and say, oh, well, my God, this really became an unmitigated disaster.
Except a lot of fans don't want to be embarrassed. So when that play gets tweeted out by the Barstool guy and all these other people, the people are laughing at your school.
I guess.
And also, you got a running back hurt pointlessly.
But that's to me,
he's trying to recover a ball in the end zone. I mean, look, but that's that.
But that's not a result of the play call.
Yeah, it's not the play call. That's
desperate. But and also,
I know what you're
Travis got
saying.
hurt.
People
like,
say that
on a Hail Mary. I've never seen somebody get hurt on a Hail Mary.
Guys get lit up on
except
Hail Marys.
Travis and Wake Forest.
Yeah, guys get lit up on Hail Marys.
But I'm talking about the wide receivers. Like there was no point in it. What are you trying to do? Or
My
what do you
point
think?
is,
Clemson will let you go back there and do all that stuff for 20 minutes. They got 8 guys at the 50 and beyond. You can do all you want to do back there. It's not doing anything. But
there was no good answer. Is my point.
Yeah,
That's why I don't want to spend 20 minutes talking.
Yeah, there's no good answer there. I would also say, though, and just in terms of, again, having those feelings, if you watch the end of games in which teams have the ball deep in their own territory and they're desperate, you see the kind of buffoonish stuff we saw there with every team in the country.
Has it ever worked?
Yes, the famous play with Stanford and Cal. That's why everybody does it. They pitched it 100 times, ran into the band.
And it worked for
scored a
Miami
touchdown.
against Duke, right?
Yeah, but
it
those
does
were
work.
kick returns.
And it worked for Miami, the Dolphins against the Patriots. It does work.
It's not because you don't have 5 offensive linemen on the field on a kick return.
No,
it's pointless. It's stupid. It's never worked when you try to throw a laterally do.
But, I mean, was he going to throw an 80-yard Hail Mary?
Yeah, I mean that's worked more than this, and you might get a pass interference.
Who do they have on the team that can throw the ball 80 yards?
Yeah.
Well, nobody. That's a problem. Rodemaker, I bet Rodemaker could. He's an athlete.
No, but my point is, if you're a fan feeling embarrassed by that, every team has
come
had
on, man.
that
You
happen
played
to
well.
them.
You played hard. You played hard.
Yeah, thank you. I noticed today's depth chart still has him as a backup, writes Nathaniel. But has there been any definitive word on Toafili's injury? I'm hoping he's okay because that certainly looked bad. As for NC State, how would you attack them defensively? I know they're down an excellent linebacker. Fagan's also out. But do you think we can control their defensive line enough to employ our usual ground attack? Well, I don't think you have a choice. This was my point going into the Clemson game of why you're going to lose the game. Because you have to lean into what you are with this team. Okay, I won't just say Jordan Travis. I don't want to isolate him. But you have to lean into what that is, which is him in the read option game. You create angles. Atkins does a great job with that. Your receivers are extremely limited. They're not likely to beat a lot of people in any sort of press man. They're not going to get open. Jordan's threat of his running does allow defense, does allow you to open up other elements of your running game. That's kind of why that works.
Yeah.
We saw it doesn't work when McKenzie Milton's in there. So this idea that, well, could you do something different and throw the ball around? No, you cannot.
I think they did. Isn't that what Dillingham said, Ira? That like yesterday, that the only bright spot they had was what they did on base downs, like first down passing, because they were pretty good. He did sit in the pocket because he knew they weren't going to rush. They were going to get a run look, so they didn't have to worry about the rush. But obviously, 3rd and 12.
Yeah, you're dead in the water.
You got no chance.
You got no chance. If the RPO
against
game
that
allows
defense,
you, the run pass option allows you the opportunity to pull and throw. But that's why we say going into these games that the fact that they engineer any kind of offense, and they had previous to the Clemson game, and Clemson's got a top 5 defense, but that's really kind of a minor miracle. That's why I give Dillingham and Norvell a ton of credit, and Atkins a ton of credit.
And I mean,
because by rights you ought not be able to do anything.
And
when everybody in the world knows what you're going to do.
I really think, man, I know it was one play, but if Trayshawn doesn't fumble, I think that's one of those Trayshawn runs we're accustomed to. It's probably a 15, 18, 20-yard run. Now all of a sudden you're there at 40 with the lead. I think with the lead, maybe not with the lead, but in the game, and you feel good. Like, okay, we're in their zone again. You've never got past the 50.
That's
in the
twice
second
this
half.
year we've had a ball handed to us, and on the next play, a back put it back on the floor.
Yeah,
I mean, you think back to
and
the
he didn't
Corbin
even
play.
get 4. He just fumbled out of his hands, man.
Yeah, he went down his elbow, his wrist hit. It's frustrating because
he tripped himself.
You get the opportunity, and you're like, okay, there it is, and then
he's
like
awesome.
that.
He's been a really good football player.
Right,
That was
and
just
that's
a
the
rough
same
play.
thing when Corbin did it. You're like, well, he's a good player. I mean, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah,
Guys
Cam
make
Akers
mistakes.
had a
It's
couple
football,
bad
you know?
fumbles in his career. It's football.
That's it for the Facebook questions, boys. I went through them all.
Go through Twitter.
Let's go over to Twitter. Here we go. Is it possible, writes Jared, we had a better chance to beat Clemson this year rather than next? We have a ways to go, and they may get back on track next year. The talent gap is still going to be great. It's possible, yes. If DJ ever figures it out and they're able to shore up their offensive line in the middle, Clemson will be better next year. And Florida State, I think, conceivably could be worse on defense next year. Yeah, it could be a problem.
Ira, have you shut down?
No,
I
I'm
don't
good,
understand what's going on.
I'm good. I think, I think it could be. But I think when you look at DJ, I don't think he's going to be the answer. I mean, I watched his interview after the game, and I don't think he thinks. I think he thinks he's playing great. Just watching his interview and the way he answered questions.
Dabo or DJ?
DJ.
Oh.
So I don't know that he's a guy that's going to get a whole lot better.
Remember
Now,
when
maybe they make
Felipe
a change.
Franks did that too at Florida?
Right.
He's like, you guys don't know what you're talking about.
Well, he got mad at the fans.
When he
Felipe
got mad,
Franks was
well,
yelling at Florida
he
fans.
shushed his own fans, but he
Yeah.
also told the media, like, you guys just don't understand football and what I'm trying to do. So yeah, I think Clemson will certainly probably be better next year, but it's hard to know with the portal. The portal changes everything, and I don't think he likes the portal. Dabo,
No,
he's
he
not
won't.
into the portal. But Florida State, you might have 6 or 7 completely different players out there that can really change the game, and you'll be at home. So that's what gives you. I mean, I don't think it's going to go back to 18 where you have no chance. I think you're trending up.
It's an interesting offseason. I mean, it's hard to project that far out. I think they've made some progress here, and I just think that when you're rebuilding, it's tough because you'll take some steps forward, but you'll take a step back in other areas. I'm less worried about Clemson and more worried about Florida State. I want to see, like I alluded to earlier, what they do in the portal. That gives you a better chance of kind of answering that question. It is possible, though, to answer his question that this year was a much better chance to beat a struggling Clemson team than next. It's possible.
Yeah, you might not have the ball in the lead. In the fourth quarter next year.
It's very realistic, in fact, to say that. This guy's mad that I used to say that, or I was saying prior to it changing the last 2 weeks about Miami quitting. He says, "Can we get Jeff to stop saying Miami's about to quit? That team will not quit on Manny Diaz." Well,
I wouldn't say that's true.
I wouldn't say that's true at all. They kind of had.
But they found something.
And don't mutter Florida quitting on Mullen. He may be quitting on them.
Yeah. Well, and look, it's sort of tongue in cheek, but not really. Like Miami's still giving up a ton of points and yards. Their defense isn't exactly flying around, playing well. But when you got a quarterback now that can put up 35 or 38 points, that does give you a little juice on the sidelines.
And I always feel like you can tell better. You get a better sense of where a team is psychologically and mentally in terms of culture and all that on defense, because that's more of an unselfish side of the ball. Offensive guys are always going to want to score. Receivers are going to want to score. Running backs are going to want to score. Quarterbacks are going to make big passes. But if the defensive players won't play for each other, then it gets exposed, and that's where I think Miami's got some trouble.
Chris writes, what many have so far is that, is there anything more frustrating than just giving up 100 yards of field position every week because you refuse to catch a punt? People have hit their wits in on the punts, guys.
Yeah.
They're done. So the timing on warchant.com was really good for your article.
Yeah, well, they got
people want
pictures.
answers.
Yeah, they do want answers. I don't know if they'll love all those answers, but they do get answers. Yeah, it's a big problem when you're not good, as Ira says. Well, Ira doesn't even like to call it hidden yardage. It's out there in the open.
Yeah,
You get to see
it's
how
not
many
hidden.
yards you lost.
Everybody calls it hidden yardage. It's
so
not hidden anymore.
So look at this.
Yeah, the ball's
right
rolling
here.
down the ground.
It's still rolling.
Yeah.
How many yards is that, everybody?
The ball hit at the
10,
33 and
12,
went to the 20.
25. We're up to 37. I can see it. I can count those yards. It's not hidden at all.
Yeah.
This would have been caught at the 38. Instead, they got it at the 2. That's 36 yards, everybody. This is a problem. Seminole Headlines comes back. Wrap it up in a moment.
Hi, Chris Kraft for the Kraft Brothers dealerships. At Kraft Nissan, we've been amazed at the number of Toyota and Honda people trading up to Nissan's new family of SUVs. The changes are stunning. And don't just take my word for it. Motor Trend tagged Rogue as the 2021 SUV of the Year finalist, adding that Rogue can go toe-to-toe with Honda and Toyota. Well, guess what, Tallahassee? We can't keep the new Rogues on the showroom floor. Seriously, if you haven't seen one for yourself, come take a test drive and you'll see the new Rogue sells itself. In the 2022 Nissan Pathfinder, it's roomier, quicker, and better equipped. Plus, the second row seats easily slide and flip forward to allow access to the third row, even with a child seat installed. And finally, Car and Driver says savvy shoppers will be surprised by the new Armada's luxuriousness. So I encourage SUV lovers to come see the new Nissan family of SUVs. Everyone knows that Nissan SUVs have more standard equipment than competition. The award-winning Rogue, Pathfinder, and Armada, only at Kraft Nissan, Mahan Drive, Tallahassee.
Let me tell you what T-Spark stands for. It stands for strength, commitment, teamwork, and heart. We don't ever quit until we've got nothing left to give. Our team is unstoppable. Want a guaranteed win? Call T-Spark Enterprises for your next roofing or construction project. We conquer all peaks. T-SparkConstruction.com. License number CCC 1331204.
When the forgotten poor are in need of healing, they wait for a ship unlike any other. Mercy Ships, a floating hospital staffed by volunteers, heroes of mercy who donate their time to save lives.
Every human has the right to have a place at the table of the human race.
If you could just see the smiles that you get when lives have been changed, then it would make it all worth it.
To learn more about Heroes of Mercy, go to mercyships.org.
You went online to switch your car insurance to Progressive so you could save money. But then you saw a friend request from an old summer camp buddy. And now here you are, clicking through photos of his kickball team from 2011. Oh, looks like they won the championship that year. Then he moved to Tulsa. Oh, a new tattoo. Yes, they said it was easy to save hundreds on car insurance with Progressive, but they forgot about the rest of the internet. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. National average savings by new customer surveyed who saved in 2019.
Many orthodontists in Tallahassee can straighten a smile, but at Birch Orthodontics, they're dedicated to providing the finest care possible. The experienced and friendly staff is trained in all of the latest techniques. So whether you need standard treatment like braces or Invisalign, or you have a more complicated case requiring extra attention, Birch Orthodontics is here for you. Set up your free consultation today by visiting birchorthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com, or call 850-877-1692. At Birch Orthodontics, they create beautiful smiles that last a lifetime.
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schoffel, and Corey Clark.
Now Walter writes, there you go. Did Ira or Corey get any feeling from the IPTAY faithful that Dabo was 2 FSU first downs away from the hot seat? How shaky is the Sweeney Kingdom? Are they about to implode? I don't know that he would have been in any jeopardy of losing his job, but
how crazy would that have been? Like, this is a rap, Dabo. We've seen enough.
Seen enough of you.
That was sent a message. No, I wouldn't say that, but going back to what you guys mentioned the question in the last segment about was this a better chance than next year? It could be, but it also could be trending in the wrong direction for them.
And why didn't you answer that question when it was asked? What was going on over there?
Busy. I just get bored of the Jordan Travis talk. I mean, the Jordan Travis thing is so boring to me because he's all they've got. So we're arguing about whether or not he could have played better. Yeah, he could have played better, but he's the best they've got. So we just go in circles. So that
Well,
conversation.
I think it's relevant because I want to bring in another quarterback. But
I don't think anybody would argue against that. I mean,
well, he is.
Well,
No, I don't think
every
so.
week he thinks Jordan's the best player in the
I'm
world.
say he's going to lose the
Yeah,
battle.
Okay.
You brought in old hot shot from UCF. That
I
didn't work
did?
out. Well, they did. Didn't work out.
Why did they do that?
Well, right,
Mhm.
right.
Anyhow.
Yeah, no, I mean, so that's why I'm just like, all right, we can do this for another 2 hours. I'm tired of that debate.
Well, you can answer this one.
Yeah, I think that I don't think that he's on the hot seat or close to it, but I do think they could be trending in the wrong direction, and I think that to me is an interesting development to watch. You know, because Florida State's got to catch up to the other programs that are their top rivals. Clemson may be coming back to them pretty quickly. Florida really seems to be coming back to them pretty quickly, and I don't know that this Miami. I don't think Miami. The quarterback is good. He might be really good. He might be nearly as good as Corey thinks, but I don't think that's going to be the solution. They've got other problems in that program. So I think the window, I think, of opportunity is still open.
How are they recruiting? What's Clemson
Not
looking
great.
like?
Oh, Clemson, good. I mean, I don't know that.
I know they got a big time quarterback coming in. I think
always,
yeah. But I mean, we'll see if you can win the job.
It was
DJ was a big time quarterback too.
It's kind of disheartening about that game. So they had a big prospect there, maybe the number one tight end in the 2023 class, Deuce Robinson.
Oh,
I don't know if you guys have heard of old Deuce Robinson, Dominic Robinson's son.
Oh,
and
okay.
He early on, he's out in Arizona, and early on he was talking about Florida State, but he hasn't mentioned Florida State in a good
and what is
year
he?
and a half tight end. He's like 6'6".
Well, look, Florida State's got 11 tight ends, so
It's twofold.
Yeah.
There's a better opportunity to play at Clemson.
Did we reach out to him?
No, yeah. No, it's interesting that he's like, he used to talk about Florida State and the fact that Dominic played at Florida State, and Dominic's a good guy and like has always been good to the program even after he left. When some guys in that area would take turns crapping on Florida State, he never did. But his son does not seem to have any interest. He was actually at the Clemson game, and
maybe he liked what he saw. I mean, Jordan Wilson had a couple catches. I think Cam had one before he got hurt.
I do owe it to Jordan Wilson to say job well done.
You do,
Yeah.
because he's been terrible all year, and then made a couple plays this
Yeah.
game. I got to give him credit. That's
that
really
was a
good.
nice play on the sideline. It was like a 21-yard catch or something.
No, it was good to see. And because Cam McDonald went down, he was important and he played well. Yeah, I got to give Jordan credit.
Arch Manning was there too.
Arch Manning was there.
Sir Stuart Wallace writes, I vote that we immediately put McCall and Hunter both back as dual punt returners the minute they step onto campus. Something tells me they both have the type of chutzpah that won't tolerate backing away from the football as if it's a bouncing grenade.
Is that every, like, are all punts in the NFL like that now?
What?
The way
Rugby
they do it in
kicks?
college now?
No, I don't think so. But they kick him off 51 yards with
They
9
kick him
seconds
up.
of hang time.
They kick him straight into the air. They go, as Corey said, a good 50 to 60 yards. It's insane how good punters are in the pros. Like the chance you're going to get a good return is pretty
It's
minimal.
just to me, it's like now it's like watching all knuckleballers. It's like a league full of Phil Necros.
Yeah,
punters.
You get a 51-yard punt and 22 yards of it was a roll, which is how. Like, why don't they ever roll backwards? You remember back in the day, I felt like punts went backwards as much as they went forward. Now with this newfangled, let's just kick it end over end, they just roll and roll and roll.
Fellas, first and foremost, yay sausage, writes Chris. Now with us getting closer to the end of the season and the extra eligibility last year from COVID, do you think many underclassmen will leave or will the majority decide to come back?
It's a concern. I mean, you guys were talking about it in the first hour about the guys who are going to lose on defense. I mean, Fabian Lovett's a key example of a guy who's been in college 3 years now.
He's had a good year.
He's had a really good year. He's got a kid. He may want to bounce.
He's gone from what I've read.
And then you look at guys on the secondary. They've got some guys. There's a lot of guys on this team that have made progress. And Amari Gaynor, you can see. I know you don't think he's a great player, but
he had his best game,
and he's going to test extremely well. So they've got guys that are going to make decisions. So that's going to be an issue. Everybody sees that extra COVID year and assumes those guys are going to be here 5 or 6 years. They may not.
Yeah, Amari had a good first half, a really good first half, and one of his better games. I just think he's a little bit more limited than you look at him. He looks like he's an All-American. So, yeah, that's some of the frustration there. Hey, guys, love the show. I feel torn. I want us to win and go to a bowl, but I also feel like Fuller isn't the right DC for us. How do you all feel? Do you see a scenario in which we go to a bowl and still get a top-notch defense coordinator? Well, if we go to a bowl, unless they're winning 58-51 every week, then Fuller did something right here in the second half of the season, and there'd be no reason to get rid of him.
But I don't think they're totally mutually exclusive. I think you could go to a bowl as a 5-7 team and still think you might need to make a change.
Sure. Like I said, I mean, you could win some games 37-31 or something like that.
It's so hard to evaluate, man, and that's where I just think it's hard to have a strong opinion because they do have some limitations on defense in terms of personnel. Like early in the year, they never had guys available in the secondary. When they were playing poorly in the secondary, they had a lot of guys that were in and out. Last year, you can't really judge much of anything after last year. This Clemson game, I thought he brought pressure sometimes when he didn't bring pressure sometimes. I thought he had DJ confused. I thought they did a nice job defensively in that game.
I thought that they did a good job of adjusting in the second half.
Yeah.
That's where I'll go. He adjusted well in the second half. I thought their plan in the first half was poor. He gave up more yards in the first half than Clemson's had all year long. And that's problematic outside of the one game, the 48-7 game. So that is a.
But the second half, Clemson did jack squat, and they kept getting the ball.
And
they got
really
the ball
was,
in good field
and it was
position.
the last couple drives of the first half because if you look, they got the ball, we were thinking, oh, Clemson's going to score here.
Well, it's crazy. At the end of the first half, Clemson decided to shut it down. What was Dabo doing?
Yeah, man.
He did just don't trust that quarterback at all.
They don't trust him at all, and that's what's so frustrating and maddening about those 2 30-yard penalties. I don't think that kid was going to lead him down the field if the refs / you don't give them those 30 yards. I just don't. I mean that throw he made, Noles is beat. A good throw is a touchdown.
It's a touchdown.
He makes a terrible throw and gets rewarded for it. And I don't think that kid was going to do it.
Back to my point about DJ though, and this is why I don't think he's going to get a whole lot better. So he's getting interviewed after the game about his interception that Amari Duke Cooper had,
which was nice to see.
They're like, so on that play, were you supposed to throw it there? He's like, yeah, that was the play call. And they're like, yeah, but even with the safety there, that's where you're supposed to. He goes, yeah, that was my guy. That's what I was supposed to throw to.
Oh no!
And it was like they're like, oh, but he really, even with the guy, and he's like, he goes, yeah.
Are you sure?
Finally, at the end, he goes, I probably could have put a little more air under. I probably could have got.
I have to throw it right to the Florida State
I
guy's
had to
helmet.
give it right to him. That's a toughie. Good job, Matthew, for Corey and Ira. I'm Jeff. Thanks for listening,
Braves.
everybody. Be
Go
well.
Braves.
We'll talk to you next time. Go Noles.